Welcome to Death Holler. Do you like scary movies? Welcome to Season 3, Slash or Pass. There will be laughter, tears, tender moments,
Jason, my special boy.
but most of all, screams. Remember, when you're in Death Holler, listener discretion is always advised. We hope you have a killer time.
We hope you have a killer time. Ew.
That's a hell of a way to start it up.
Yep. Hey, everyone.
Yeah, well, welcome to spooky season. It's officially here.
Yeah, we are balls deep into spooky season.
Yeah, and I'm loving it because there's actually several different streaming services that have started getting in on the spooky season game, and we'll see how they've done because Amazon Prime has Totally Killer out now.
Oh, I need to watch that. I didn't know it was on Amazon. Okay, my dumbass thought you went to the theater to see that. I didn't know it was on Amazon Prime, and I have it.
Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch this tonight. It's on there.
Yeah, but you're not. It's not. I wouldn't be surprised if you're like, hey, going to the theater again, because this is a movie. I don't know about you, but this looked like a movie that I would probably go to the theater to watch.
I'll get into it in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, but we have that. Paramount Plus has Pet Sematary Bloodlines, which is like a continuation of Pet Sematary.
Shut the fuck up!
And where did you watch yours at? Is that on Netflix?
It's on Hulu. It's on stolen Hulu.
Oh, okay, it's on Hulu. Okay.
Yeah. You know what? When you go to babysit people's kids and you log into your Hulu on their TV, you might want to log out. Or don't, because that's how I have Hulu. Thanks, person.
And that's not counting the movies that are in the theaters, although the current one is Exorcist, The Believer, and the ratings are not that good for that one.
Yeah, there's people right now that are basically posting that this is hours of their life they're never going to get back again, and I feel pretty bad about it, but it's like at the same time, it's like you can't. Are we putting too high expectations on? Is it really that bad, or are we just putting high expectations on horror films now? Because we're pretty desensitized.
I think it's because of the name. If they would have called it any other thing but The Exorcist and tried to link it to that, I think they would have got by with it. But you can't slap that name on just anything and it be just okay. And that's the biggest complaint I've heard is that it's a okay movie, but then with that name, it's like it sets up a certain level of expectation and it's not going to live up to it.
Oh yeah. So, and they made 2 little baby Reagans. I mean, they all have to look the same,
I thought that was funny. It was like, well, if one Reagan's scary, what about 2? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
No.
We kind of got that with Evil Dead Rising. You didn't have 1. You didn't have 2. You had 3 at one time, not to mention everyone outside of the apartment.
Yeah. They've had multiple deadites in some of the movies.
That's true. Okay.
So let's start out with yours because I'm interested to hear about this new zombie movie in quotation marks.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you have to go into this for what it is. It's R.L. Stine. It's not going to be scary, okay, by any means. It's a kid-centric film. It's probably centered around, not even teenage kids. I would say preteen, maybe? Basically, if you're going to read a Goosebumps book, which I'm pretty sure this book was a Goosebumps book back in 2012, expect that. Expect fun. They had pretty decent actors in it. Even the no-names, the kids that were playing, they're pretty decent. So, decent acting, good scenery. For me, there was jump scares, but that doesn't count because what I have learned by this extremely not scary movie with extremely not scary zombies is I'm still going to scream when I run into a zombie. Some of them were friendly. Some of them, it wasn't that they were friendly. It was that they weren't like completely fully turned. Like they were zombies, but they also could be easily deterred by the protective eye. It's like an Egyptian symbol of an eye.
Okay.
That was the only thing that could protect you in a sense. And so they couldn't come near you with that, or they could, that they just couldn't do anything to you. They basically couldn't harm you. So one of the zombies ends up being still almost like an assistant to the director of these films that he's making. Basically what's going on is there's this film creator. It's Dan Aykroyd, and I forget what he is in this, what his character's name is, but they have a whole ass town built around him. It's as if Stephen King had Kingsville. And in Kingsville, They know that Stephen King lives there, and every film he comes out with is a hit. Well, how he's making these films is he's found like this Egyptian curse or this way to have the films make themselves. And why they're so good and why they seem so realistic is because the zombies are real. That you play this weird, it's almost like a Necronomicon where you have this, they're watching this blank film. And the film that they're watching is actually them going out and causing chaos to the towns, etc. And every film he's ever made has not only had the real zombies, but it's also trapped their souls into the film.
So it's almost like a continuation of R.L. Stein's Goosebump movies, where Jack Black, as R.L. Stein, wrote all those stories, but he didn't really write them because he was basically just writing about monsters that he was trapping inside of these books or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much that. Only this is film.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I haven't seen Goosebumps.
The first movie is pretty decent. The second one, not so much. But yeah, that for a kid especially, that first Goosebumps movie is pretty decent. Maybe
I did see the first one. I don't think I've seen the second one. I'm gonna go with those were probably better than this one. This one was, I mean, it's straight to video version. It went straight to streaming. Yeah. So
wasn't there somebody else famous in it besides Dan Aykroyd though? Because
Chevy Chase.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yes, Chevy Chase was in it. He had a pretty small role. He was basically he taught Dan Aykroyd's character how to do the spell, and in turn, Dan Aykroyd accidentally caught him in one of the movies. He got trapped, and so basically Chevy Chase is living, well, not Chevy Chase, his character is living basically his life trying to survive in these films, because these films are still ever going, on this reel, and they're all on reels, they're on old ass reels, etc. Yeah, so it was okay. There's better kid-friendly films out there. If you're a fan of R.L. Stein, and I was a huge fan, I don't know if you were, I read every fucking book when I was a kid. It was one of those, I have to watch this because he was so instrumental in my horror, beginnings.
Yeah, I read I want to say five. I probably read more than that, but there was 5 that stood out to me whenever I was a kid of the R.L. Stein Goosebumps books. So
yes, and I felt like every 2 months he came out with a book or something. Maybe it wasn't like that. That's what it felt like to me. But every day I would go down, the publisher's aisle at my store. And I would look to see if there's a new Goosebumps book. Because back then, I didn't have the internet to be able to look like, hey, R.L. Stein, does he have any new books? What's up with him? My son has his favorite author on lock. He knows when the next book is coming out.
I always had the Scholastic book fairs is where I got them at. Whenever that came around the school, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get a bunch of Goosebumps books. That sort of thing. Pretty
much. No. As soon as they were out at the store, because our Scholastic book fairs were every 6 months at our area.
Yeah, that's what ours were.
Yeah, so I wanted them sooner. So I would go, I would find it, and I had to beg my mom, please, for this $4 book. It was probably $3 back in the day, Can I please get this book? And if we could afford it, I was getting one. But yeah, so I had to watch this film. I can't say that I recommend it. Like I said, I think you have to be an R.L. Stein fan, a dedicated R.L. Stein fan. It's not at first. Yesterday was the first day it was out. It was getting like just demolished. We're talking less than 4 stars out of 10 on IMDb. It's now at 4.3, so it's gone up, but that's not significant. Rotten Tomatoes, it's holding solid. 60% on the tomato meter. It's gone down to 70% on the audience score. But still, that's a passing grade.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So, So that was my little Raina still getting scared. The zombies were so stupid. Oh, the makeup was terrible, FYI. It was god awful in terms of, but I was still fucking scared. And they said the stupidest shit. So, like, you know, you had the typical moaning and everything. You had this one teacher that just hated one of the kids that was one of the surviving kids, which, by the way, the reason why there's 2 surviving kids in this particular film is because, and of course the movie director or the movie creator, he has a necklace that protects him at all times. The kids had the covers of the reel, so the film covers, the canisters, if you will, and it each had a protective eye on it because that's what keeps the zombies in or contained when they're not on film.
Right.
So they each had one, so they used it when this blast of light went out that was going to turn everyone in the theater or, you know, the town into zombies. They had these things to shield their face, and that's how they did not become zombies, which was, you know, clever enough. It works. So, yeah. Oh, but anyways, one of the teachers, the thing she kept saying as a zombie was, detention.
Okay,
Shut
I got
up.
you. That's the type of movie I figured it was whenever I saw the preview, so I'm like, okay.
I just knew zombies I had to watch, and I was like, if I'm going to be able to watch a zombie movie and not be scared, it's going to be this, and it was not this. I was still scared every now and then.
Well, I'm going to talk about one that I think you could watch and it still be in the wheelhouse of what you were just saying.
Okay.
So Tubi came out recently with a movie. I think it was Tubi. At least it's on there, called Natty Knocks. It's NATTYKNOCKS.
Okay.
It's got some pretty heavy hitters from the horror community in this movie. Danielle Harris from Halloween 4 and the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, and of course the Hatchet movies, at least the later ones. She plays like the mom in this movie. She's divorced from her husband. He's not really helping with the kids. The focus is not on her, but like she has a element in the movie, and she works for a realty company. And her boss at the realty company is Robert Englund, which you might have heard of.
Oh, I think so. What's a movie he's been in?
The Rise of Leslie Vernon, Behind the Mask.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, he was in that one. But yeah, Robert's mostly in this to deliver exposition, like he delivers the story of Natty, like how she came to be, and like he's really good at that. That's all I could say. But like he's primarily just for that scene, and then they kind of like move him on. But the main bad guy in the movie though is actually Bill Moseley, who has been in a ton of movies, including the Rob Zombie Firefly trilogy. He plays a really good bad guy, and he was Chop Top. So we've already covered him this season. Dog will hunt, as it were.
Oh my God.
But basically this movie best described, if I was to shorten it down, to say an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, but with gore.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. So it starts out, and basically there's this woman who's sleeping with this dude. She's fucking him, and all these women are pissed off, and they're wanting the book back from her. They're calling her a witch. And they basically run her into this shed, and she refuses to tell them where the book's at, and they set fire to it, and she swears that she'll get revenge on them, and that's Natty, that they did that. Well, her son, who it's revealed later in the movie is Bill Moseley, he saw this happen. So like it's almost like a Jason situation where he saw his mother get killed, so now he's a killer,
Oh.
these kids are pulling a prank for Natty Knox night. It's Halloween basically, and they do a burning of the witch Natty Knox, and they've got this whole story behind her. And these kids go to pull a prank, but they go to her actual original house, and Bill Moseley just happens to be in there. And so the movie is him trying to, basically take these kids out that, happen to see him, because they saw him with one of the local teenage or high school girls. He had her he knocked her out and he drug her in the basement, and and so they, it's one of those things where they can't really tell the police what they're doing, because if they do, they're going to get in trouble. So they report anonymously to police, but the police don't really do anything. So the rest of the movie is them trying to convince people that there's actually a murder in the house.
Wow.
But I mean, it's the stakes are not like, it's not like a traditional horror movie, because it does play toward like kids. So it has that "Are you afraid of the dark" feel, but he's a real killer. He's really out to kill these kids, and in particular, he wants their babysitter because, and toward the end of the movie, what Robert Englund reveals is that Natty Knox was actually, she was like a B movie star. She was in a lot of like risque movies back in like the 50s and 60s, horror movies. And she, whenever her looks dried up, at least for Hollywood, she moved back to her hometown where, it was very religious and all that. And that's the reason she left, was because her parents were like overbearing. And when she came back, she realized that she could make money being in the world's oldest profession. And the women in town didn't like that. And she kept a book, and the book that they wanted was a book of the names of all her Johns, which happened to be the husbands of the town's wives. So that's the reason they wanted to kill her, was because she was fucking their men.
How?
And so, but I will say this, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but there is a ghost element to the movie. It's not just Bill Moseley's like trying to get revenge. There is a ghost involved. So,
okay.
It has a little bit of that too.
A little extra. All right, pop off.
But it wasn't bad. The gore in it was pretty good. The blood and all that. The Bill Moseley does great as the character. He's real good at playing like those conflicted, like crazy type people. It's fun seeing Robert pop up. Danielle Harris. They don't give her a whole lot, but she's fine as the hot mom, as it were. So not too bad for like a more of a kids horror movie.
Yeah.
I just went into it expecting it to be something more than that. And I wasn't disappointed. I was just like, oh, okay, now I get what it was. I didn't, realize that going into it. The other movie I saw recently was No One Will Save You, which is just popped up on Hulu recently, which is actually it's an alien abduction / home invasion movie.
What? Home invasion by who? Aliens?
Aliens, the Greys. They're gray aliens. They're straight up like the little gray men with the big eyes and all that. They're breaking into this girl's home. And the good thing about the movie, or the impressive thing about the movie to me, is hardly anything is spoken in the movie, because the girl lives by herself. You can tell with what limited dialogue she has, because nobody in town will talk to her. They just give her ugly looks, or outright, look like they're going to kill her when she walks around them. You get this vibe that her best friend is missing. Her mother died recently, or in the recent past, because she goes to visit her grave. And so the rest of the town blames her for something, and it eventually reveals it in the movie. But like, since she's on her own, and that's kind of the hint of the title, No One Will Save You, when the aliens do invade, and they don't just invade her house, because when she finally escapes from the house, they're all over the town.
Fuck.
But the fact is, nobody likes her, so nobody even attempts to help her out whenever she needs their help.
Does it? Okay, I'm all intrigued now. I'm invested. Is there something wrong with her? Is she just recluse, or does she look ugly? Why doesn't?
No, she's she's a little out there. She's like one of those like Etsy like artist types or whatever, but there's nothing really. She's just a, kind of a Gen Z, free willing type. Like, there's nothing really wrong with her.
Is that how small towns are?
Well, it's not that.
Okay.
They reveal what
okay.
happened to her friend and how she was involved in it, and that's why everybody hates her.
Okay, because I'm like, no, this is not how terrifying.
And the only problem is it's actually creepy in parts. Like, even though they're gray aliens and it's like, 4 foot tall if they're anything. Well, some of them actually. There's some near the end of the movie that are taller than a house. So
okay, no, fuck that.
And they run on like these spider-like legs. I mean, there's a whole thing to them, but it's really good for most of the runtime. There's a really trippy scene where one of them, like, they finally stop her. They finally, they've got like a way of psychically force it with whatever abilities they've got. They can stop you from moving, and they basically, one of them coughs up this like nasty like phlegm that's got like tentacles and stuff, and they shove it in her mouth.
No.
And basically they control you at that point. She's, and then there's a whole scene of her like fighting this because, and in your mind, whenever this thing is taken over, they make you, it's like you're living in heaven. Like, they give you everything you want in your mind, but you're not in control of your actual body. You're just stuck in like a tiny corner of your mind, just living your best life, as it were. She fights this because she doesn't, that's her thing. And there's eventually an end point in the movie where like everything, comes to a head, and it has the oddest fucking ending. If the ending is the part that if anybody is going to drop off from this movie and say, what the fuck, I might have wasted my, because every part of the movie up to that was great, but then the ending's one of those like 180 type things. And I mean, I got it, and I don't know, I kind of understand it, but it's like, it doesn't, it's like you completely just drop everything you did before and you go with something completely different for the ending.
Okay. Fucking
and
weird.
It's, I don't know, it's the ending. I could see that being like a deciding point for people who are like, I love this movie until the ending and it just ruined it for me. If people say that, I could totally understand it.
Yeah. Fucking weird.
And then of course, Totally Killer just came out, and that was the one that I was recommending that you watch. Yep. Because it's from some of the same people that made Happy Death Day and Freaky, I believe.
Okay, horror comedy.
That's what it is. Has some really cool people in it. Mm-hmm. It has Kiernan Shipka, who played, Sabrina in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yes, we love her.
It has Julie Bowen in it, which I believe is from what is that that TV show that you
Modern Family.
Modern Family, mm-hmm. Yes. It has. She plays the mom, I believe, in like the present 2023 time, because we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
And the dad is Lachlan Monroe, which you might recognize as the guy who had the small penis in Scary Movie.
Shut the fuck up. Wait, he was in one of the Friday movies too, wasn't he?
He is.
Okay.
He very much is.
Do I recognize this bitch? Not for any other's particular body parts, his face, okay, everybody? Gosh.
But he's in it, and he plays her dad in the current time. And the reason I say current time is because this is a time-traveling slasher.
Okay. It's a Friday. It goes with Friday the 13th a little. No, not really. Not time traveling. I'm thinking, Jason's ability to teleport.
To warp,
yeah.
Which we will get into. But it's the concept, I mean, couldn't be more perfect for me. I love Back to the Future.
Okay.
And they reference Back to the Future in this movie because obviously they have to. And they do reference what is it? Avengers Endgame, which I thought had some of the shittiest time travel logic in history, and they comment on it and say the same thing. So good on you, writers. The whole thing about like if you change something in the past, it doesn't change anything in the future because it causes parallel dimensions or whatever bullshit they came up with in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Fuck you. No. But anyways, so the gist of the movie is that there's a Sweet 16 killer, and he in 1987 on Halloween, or the days leading up to Halloween and Halloween night, he killed 3 girls in town. And the reason they call him Sweet 16 is because the girls, at least 2 of them, were celebrating their 16th birthday, and he stabbed them 16 times before they died.
I mean, they probably deserved it at that age. I'm just,
Well, Well, that's the funny thing is you say that because those girls were part of a group called the Mollies, and basically it was 1987's version of Mean Girls.
Oh, okay, here you go. The plastics.
But guess who was also a member of the Mollies and probably the ringleader of them?
Kiernan Shipka?
No, her mom, Julie Bowen, at least the younger version of her.
Julie, no.
But Kiernan doesn't know this.
Ooh.
So what happens in the current time, and this is the setup for the movie, so I'm not spoiling a whole lot, is that Julie has been investigating Julie Bowen's character Pam, Kiernan Shipka's mom, has been investigating this with this local true crime guy who does podcasts or whatever, who was also there at the time whenever all this stuff happened when they were kids. But she's been with him, been investigating with him, trying to figure out who the killer was because they were never caught, and the 3 people that died ended up being her best friends. So she always feared that the killer would come back to finish the job. And on Halloween night 2023, he does. I mean, she does a really good job of fighting him off, but he eventually overcomes her and gets killed. And that gives Kiernan Shipka a reason to want to go back and change things because basically her mother has just been murdered.
Okay.
And so her friend, it explains it in the movie, but her friend's like kind of a sciencey nerd, has been building a time machine. And it just so happens that one night, whenever the killer is trying to attack Kiernan Shipka's character, he follows her to what amounts to like a time traveling photo booth. And he happens to stab the control panel, which is just the thing needed to actually work. Like they were missing one thing.
Oh my God.
They needed a metal conductor, which the knife was. It sends her back to 1987, which is what was programmed into the machine. And so now she is trying to go about and prevent the murders from happening in the first place, or to catch the killer in the past when he first did it, so that her mom won't die in the future.
Okay.
It's a good concept for a slasher. And the only thing is, and I can see this complaint, I made this slightly. Kiernan Shipka's character is a quintessential 2023 girl, meaning that as soon as she goes back to the 80s, she has to comment on every fucking thing that people did in the past. It's kind of funny in a way, and it's true. Like the name of the local mascot for their football team is the Red Devils, is what they were called in 2023, and it was just like a red devil face. When she goes back to 1987, it's an Indian person's face, like the Native Americans, and they're called the Red Devils. And she looks at it and she's like, of course racism is what I'll see when I'm here, you know? So she makes these comments, but the thing that I like about it, the movie actually it makes fun of her over it. Like she comments on all this stuff, and the people in the time period either look at her like, are you fucking lame? Like, why do you who cares about this? Or they outright make fun of her. It's like she'll say something and be like, me, that sort of thing. So I love it for doing that because, I mean, yes, she would go back and say these things because entitled Gen Zs from 2023 would for sure say something about the 80s when they got kicked back.
Someone who's never lived in that time. They don't know.
But the people in the 80s would also be like, fuck you, which is what they do in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's good that way. The Kiernan Shipka does a great job in the movie. She really does. She makes you care for the character she's playing, even though she's not the greatest person either. But like her mom, when she goes back and finds out her mom was just like a mean girl, piece of shit. Like, she puts a lot of heart in the movie. I'll just put it that way.
Was it an awkward conversation when she makes it back to 2023 with her mom? Like, Mom, you were a bitch.
Well, the funny thing about that is through the course of the movie, she imparts enough like good qualities onto her teenage mother that her mother actually becomes a better person when she comes back to 2023.
Okay.
So it's one of those things. It's like because they point out in the movie, like she has a terrible relationship with her mom. Like she talks back to her. Like, I mean, even though her mom is like, in 2023, her mom's not that person. Like she's grown up. She's actually a decent human being.
Yeah.
But like when she tries to talk to her daughter, Kieran just like, shut the fuck up, mom. I'm not listening to this. You know, she's one of those type daughters or whatever.
Yeah.
And she makes a comment. She's like, well, how come you don't talk to grandma? Like, she makes the comment all the time. She's like, why doesn't grandma come around? And it's like, hitting that, like, there wasn't a good relationship there with, between Pam, her mom, and her grandma. When she goes back in the past and she sees her teenage mom, like, I mean, just, she's awful to her, like, to Kieran and Shipka's grandma, younger, of course.
Yeah.
And, Pam's mom, she tells her, she's like, you might want to talk better to your mom because they might not be here all the time, because she's finally understood that, because, Pam dies, in the future, she's trying to impart to her, to her mom.
Yeah.
That, like, grandma might not be here, not saying it that way.
Yeah.
But, you might want to have a better relationship with her, and she does, because when they go back to the future, this is a spoiler, but I mean, not really for the movie. When she goes back to the future, her mom's like, oh yeah. And grandma says she's coming over for Thanksgiving and Christmas and wants to know, so they, she affects things in that way that actually improves stuff. It's kind of funny whenever she goes back in time. They play into the whole Back to the Future thing where, like in Back to the Future, he looks at George, Marty looks at George and he's like, Dad. And then he like tries to cover it by saying Dad, Dad, Daddy-O, because he's so used to saying that to George.
Yeah.
When she looks at Pam like several times, she's like, okay, Mom. And then like they look at her and she's like, Mamacita. And then at one point in the movie, they're like, are you a lesbian? Like, are you hot for me? That's what, like, they ask her because she keeps saying that, and of course, Lachlan Monroe, whenever she goes back in time, like her dad is just like this, kind of a pothead, like, like ripped, just good old time guy or whatever. And it's just funny seeing her, like, interact with her dad, like whenever he was just a teenage, boy that didn't care, about anything really. So, pretty good movie though. I highly recommend it. If I was going to say, if it came in a movie theater, I would 100% recommend people go watch it.
I'm glad you said that, because at first I thought you were veering to it's good, but it's not that good,
No, I want to own the movie of this. I hope Amazon doesn't like lock this on streaming. It's like, like Netflix does with a lot of their shit. And it's like, if you want to watch it, you got to subscribe to Amazon Prime. I mean, I want them to come out with like 4K, Blu-ray, whatever, just so that, person, because it being set during Halloween, you can add it into your Halloween rotation.
That's true. Is it disappointing that it went straight to streaming?
To me, it is, because I think that they would have got way more money if they would have put it on. It's good enough that it would have been in the theaters. Yeah. It should have been in the theaters.
Hopefully Amazon's paying pretty good. And we know Netflix isn't, so at least in long term, they're not, so.
But it's totally worth it. And if you like horror comedies and slashers, it fits the bill. So
horror comedies are always a slash here in Death Holler. It's not a pass. We have not found a horror comedy yet that's been a pass.
Yeah, I just know there's certain people that hate the combination of the two. I don't understand those people. I don't think they like fun or life, but I'm just saying.
Well, here in Death Holler, we don't like your kind in these parts.
You can just turn back around.
Yeah.
All right. Have you got any other movies you want to talk about before we head in and discuss these movies that we're going to discuss today?
If I do, it's not on the top of my head right now, so I'm ready to roll into Friday the 13th.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Death Holler. I am your host, the Reverend Dr. Death, and joining me as always is my co-host and fellow camping enthusiast, La Llareyna.
I love camping by the river. You drown all the kiddos.
Oh, yeah, that is true. That is one of your things that you like to do.
Oh, yes.
Just don't camp near lakes. That's,
lakes, rivers, whatever. Any body of water, it could be a puddle, okay?
Yeah, but you know who lives in lakes?
Oh, come on.
His name was Jason.
Say it.
And we're celebrating his birthday during the spookiest time of the year, no less. That's right, everyone. This October has a Friday the 13th, and what better way to celebrate than to cover the remaining 6 films in the Friday the 13th film series.
Woohoo!
In these films, we will be covering in the films we'll be covering this episode. Zombie Jason fights Carrie. Jason travels to New York. He gets sent to hell. He goes to outer space. He fights Freddy Krueger, and he is reborn into a new, more menacing backwoods pot farmer.
Mm-hmm.
So put on your hockey mask, sharpen up your machete, and join us near the boat docks for some good old slashing fun.
Mm-hmm.
First, if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate it if you could take the time to like, comment, and subscribe on whatever podcast platform you prefer. Helps us get more visibility on podcast listings and helps us grow. Also, consider following us on social media. You can find us on TikTok and Twitter under Death Holler Pod, and we can be found on Instagram and Facebook under Death Holler Podcast. We appreciate everyone who listens and hope you enjoy the show.
And we're finally on Pandora. We finally, for years, we've been trying to get on Pandora, and I finally got us on Pandora, if that's your thing.
You finally cracked that box and opened it up.
Yes, I made it happen. Well, they made it happen. I don't know. Look, it happened, okay?
All right, folks. Friday the 13th, The New Blood from 1988. Tagline on Friday the 13th, Jason will meet his match.
Yeah, I mean, he does.
Technically, yes.
He does, yeah. And it was, okay, we'll get into it.
Yeah. Directed by John Carl Buechler, written by Daryl Haney and Manuel Fidelo, based on characters by Sean S. Cunningham and Victor Miller. Music by Harry Manfredini and Fred Molin. Made for a budget of $2.8 million. It made $19.2 million.
Fucking killed it. Literally.
Yeah. Principal players, we have Lar Park Lincoln playing Tina Shepard, the telekinetic
Lar Park
final girl.
Lincoln?
Lar Park Lincoln,
what
yes.
the fuck? Kind of, okay.
It has to be some kind of weird, like, Hollywood stage name or something. She has been in a fan film about the continuation of this movie called Roseblood, and I have yet to watch that, and I plan on following up this to see where they take the story from this particular movie. She was also in Sky Sharks, which is a strange movie about like sharks that fly and Nazis. Yeah. Autumn Road, Ghost Party, Knots Landing, House 2, The Second Story. And she was on an episode of Freddy's Nightmares, so she kind of crossed over between the two franchises.
Lar is short for Lori.
I figured it was.
Lori
but
Park
it's one of those,
Lincoln. Yeah,
it's one of those Hollywood names.
All right.
Kane Hodder making his appearance as Jason Voorhees. Of course, this is the fan favorite Crystal Lake Killer.
And you said you're going to get into that. Are we going to get into that when his run is over?
We can discuss it now if you want to discuss all there is back.
I need to know.
What about Kane Hodder?
What? Okay. After watching these, this is a spoiler alert for me, but to me, it's unfortunate. I really liked the look of Kane Hodder as Jason, and we do get better Kane Hodders. We get better Jasons. We get bigger Jasons. I thought he was the biggest. He is not the biggest Jason we get.
No, we get Ken Kurtzinger, which is the reason that he was the reason that Kane Hodder was replaced in Freddy vs. Jason, which everybody at the time wanted Kane to go up against, Robert Englund, was because Ken Kurtzinger has 3 inches of height over.
Who cares?
Kane Hodder. I felt the same exact way about it. I'm like, who the fuck cares?
3 inches? Okay. Fucking, what's his name is 5'9". Or 5'8". Oh, no, that was the other actor that played him. Just kidding.
Robert is like 5'10" or something.
Okay.
So he's not that tall. They just wanted somebody who was that extra little bit of height so that Robert looked even smaller versus, I'm just like, that you're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like everybody wanted Kane Hodder and why is Kane Hodder, who is a stuntman, the preferred person for Jason? Well, Now I will make the argument, and Kane Hodder's not against this. He does, to my knowledge, he does not have an antagonistic relationship with C.J. Graham, who was Zombie Jason in Part 6, which is my favorite of the series.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw that out there. C.J. Graham would have been great if they would have continued with him. He had that silent stalker down.
I agree.
Fine. Kane Hodder, and he didn't even know he was doing this. This was pointed out by fans. He has certain movements as Jason that just make the character look more menacing.
I agree. He does.
He has a hulking way that he walks. I mean, it's just like, he just got like a stomp to him that, like, he's ready.
Walk.
Yeah, it's like he's ready for business. Like he's going to fucking punch your block off, which he does in Part 8, but we'll get to that. He has a way, and he didn't know this. He said that fans pointed out it's just something that he did. He turns his head before he ever turns his body as Jason. And there's something about that. There's something about that is kind of creepy. It's like when he hears you, he turns his head first and then he turns his body, to follow.
It's like he verifies the target. I want to say before you continue on this is that I liked Kane Hodder in all of his films, but I unfortunately feel he wasn't in the best of the Jason films. Like, I don't feel like they were the great ones.
They were not.
So unfortunate.
He got Jason at a time whenever Jason was on decline, and it's unfortunate because he was the best person to ever play the character.
Okay, so we're on that same page. Okay, so why do the people, other than the turn, is that it? Is that why? Because of the way he's menacing and walking? I mean, obviously,
Why do the people prefer him?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah, it's just the way that he played him, and like, people will fully admit that the last, these last six, last five, because the remake, doesn't count, are not the best of the series.
Okay.
And it takes, but the joy of watching them is from seeing just like the sheer like brutality and force that Kane Hodder brings to the character when he plays the character.
Yes, because it was taken away. The any actor that was around, Kane Hodder, and really any other Jason, if we're being honest, any actor that they didn't count, they were just there no matter how good they were. It was about Jason. Where's Jason? What's Jason doing? Oh, yay, Jason is back.
More so than anything, this movie especially. But you're right. Like, and the other thing is too is that he played the character for longer than any other person consecutively.
Yes.
So people got attached to him. They got fond of like the way that he played the character.
Yeah. Every time I saw Kane Hodder, I was like, Kane Hodder again? Kane Hodder again?
If C.J. Graham had stayed, they might have got connected to him that way. But there's something about Kane Hodder's portrayal that I still think it's chef's kiss. The way he plays the character. The only thing that I don't like about the way he plays the character, but it's fine because it adds to the just how fierce he is that he has these moments where he just sits there and you can see him like kind of breathing as he's getting like, planning on what he's going to do to people, and it's like, you're not living, dude. You don't need to fucking breathe.
You don't know that, Reverend. You don't know.
He does have a beating heart, so there's that.
Yeah, you need oxygen for that. You know these things. Let me rephrase.
But the fact that he was underwater for like over a year and like he still has to breathe. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something about the way that even he does the breathing, though, that still adds to it.
I loved it. It was like a kid.
Of course, Kane Hodder has been in the Hatchet series because he plays Victor Crowley is basically a love letter to Jason. And because he's a big mongoloid from the swamp that basically goes around killing people, and you can't really kill him. Okay. And Kane Hodder actually plays both the character of Victor Crowley and his father, because Kane Hodder's actually, without the makeup on, his dad in that movie. So he's in it twice.
Okay, pop off.
Robert Englund's also in the first Hatchet movie, just so you know, for like a split second. And Tony Todd, the Candyman's in those movies.
Jesus. All the classics. And I think it's part 3, Derek Mears, who would end up becoming Jason in the remake, is also in the Hatchet movies. Fuck, dude.
And of course, like I already mentioned, Danielle Harris is in those movies. So a lot of horror cred in those movies. Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. He's in that one short scene at the beginning when they're filming in front of Freddy's house.
Yes.
He's like Freddy's next door neighbor, and he just kind of tells him to fuck off, you know?
Yeah.
He was in the movie Prison. That's actually the reason he got the role in Part 7 was because the Gary Beekler, well, not Gary Beekler, John Carl Beekler, liked his portrayal in Prison so well, and the fact that he actually ate live worms in that movie to kind of add to the character's part in that film, that he wanted him in this movie as Jason. And that's the reason he got his role in it.
Yeah.
He was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game as Leatherface, which is hilarious. So he's kind of crossed over into several different slasher movies.
Yeah.
Chillerama, The Devil's Rejects, Wishmaster, Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings, Scanner Cop 2, House 2, The Second Story with Lar Park Lincoln. So they was actually another movie together.
Oh, they have a bond.
Somebody who doesn't have a bond with Lar Park Lincoln is Kevin Spiritus, who plays Nick Rogers, Tina's love interest. This is a little bit of trivia given early, but Nick, who is Tina's love interest in the movie, got into such a behind the scenes hate fest with Lar Park Lincoln, two of them just outright hated each other. They ended up they barely finished the movie because of it, and after it was all said and done, he went and immediately wrote a follow-up script to the movie where Nick ended up killing Tina after that, just so he'd get his own revenge, even if it was in written form. So there you go.
What the fuck? Okay, I have to say though, acting wise, they have to be some of the best actors then, because it did not. They did not bring that on screen.
No, it didn't come across in the screen.
Not
so
at
you're
all.
Right on that. He was a regular actor in the Days of Our Lives soap opera. He was in the 1984 Hills Have Eyes 2, and he's also in Roseblood, a final Friday the 13th fan film. So he did come back. I don't know if he acts opposite of Lar Park, if they finally resolved everything, but he is in that fan film with her. So.
Do you think that they fucked and he just ghosted her?
I can't remember what. I think it was something about they just got to bickering really bad, over different things, and they just couldn't stand each other.
Oh, your face is ugly when you cry. And she's like, I have to cry for the film, you dick. How come I have to fucking do everything? You're a weak little bitch in this movie. I'm the one fucking saving everyone.
That's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah.
John Otrin plays John Shepard, Tina's father, in it for a few minutes at the beginning of the movie, just so he can have a boat dock dropped on top of him.
Whew. She was mad.
Stacy Greason plays Jane McDowell, Michael's girlfriend, and I'm gonna spoiler, folks. These are the least developed characters in any of these fucking movies, and I could care less about any of them. So you're gonna hear basic descriptions like so-and-so's boyfriend, so-and-so's girlfriend, because that's literally the only purpose they serve in this fucking film.
I'm looking at who the fuck is Michael?
William Butler plays Michael Rogers, the birthday boy. They're actually he's the only one in the movie that they're all gathered together in this house next to where Tina ends up coming back to, just so they can give this guy a birthday, and he never shows up because he's fucking killed on the way in.
Okay, yeah.
He's got the most horror movie creds of anybody but Kane Hodder, though, in the movie, or mostly that, because he played I think his name's Tom, in the the Night of the Living Dead remake in the 1990 one. He was in that movie with Tony Todd. He was in Demonic Toys, Jack Attack as the director, Curse of the Reanimator, the Baby Oopsie movies, which they look fucking ridiculous. It's literally a demonic little baby or something trying to kill people. The 12 Slaves of Christmas, Mothman.
Mothman?
He was in Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Terror Night, and Freddy's Nightmares, and he was actually in 2 episodes of it. So there you go.
Missed Night of the Living Dead, 1990.
Well, I said that earlier.
Okay, my bad.
That's where I know him from. When I saw his face, I was like, he's Tom, or whatever his name is from that. He's basically, it's Tom and Judy, I think, are their names. They're the ones that are the cousins to the people who own the house, and they're the ones that end up fucking getting burned alive because they make stupid fucking mistakes.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in zombie season, but yeah,
Okay.
they're idiots. Michael Schroeder plays Dan Carter, which is Judy's boyfriend.
Whoever the fuck Judy is.
Yeah. Deborah Kessler plays Judy
okay.
Williams. She's Dan's girlfriend in a sleeping bag hole.
Yeah, she is.
And we're spoiler alert, the sleeping bag kills are pretty fine.
Yes,
pretty fine.
they are. I fucking love them.
Larry Cox plays Russell Brown, who is Sandra's boyfriend and a yuppie. He's got that pink outfit with like the blue ascot, and that's like the only defining thing to the character, because literally the fucking characters in this movie do not fucking matter. Heidi Kozak Haddad plays Sandra Casey, the skinny dipper and Russell's girlfriend.
Whoever the fuck Russell is.
She was in Society, Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Ooh.
Diana Barrows plays Maddie Paulson. She's the dumbass nerd that keeps like popping in and out from a shed until she's fucking killed by Jason.
Yes.
Craig Thomas plays Ben McNeil, Kate's fuck buddy. Diane Almeida plays Kate Pataki, who is Ben's fuck buddy. John Renfield plays David Peabody, who's just a pothead.
Gotta have one.
Yeah, you always got to have one in these movies. Jeff Bennett plays Eddie McCarlo, who's a cuck and a sci-fi writer. And funny thing about him, he's the voice of Johnny Bravo.
Shut up.
So the little nerdy guy in this movie that like wants to sleep with the one chick, and the hot chick who's also the mean girl in the movie, and she fucking tells him she was just using him to make Nick or whatever his name is, Nick Rogers jealous. He ends up being the voice of Johnny Bravo later on. So there you go, folks. You can always grow up and have a deep masculine voice, even if you're a little, piece of shit like this guy was. Elizabeth Catan plays Robin Peterson, who's a girl just wanting to have fun. She wants to smoke some dope and get laid at a party whenever her little dumbass nerd friend keeps trying to rein in her stuff. So there you go.
Yeah.
She turned into a... How can I phrase this? She gets the Linnea Quigley Award for going on to be like the sex pot. She was in Vice Academy 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Damn.
Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity, The Erotic House of Wax, and Petticoat Planet.
Jesus Christ.
Susan Blue plays Amanda Shepard, who is Tina's mom. She's a voice director. Yeah. And Terry Kaiser plays Dr. Christopher Cruz, who's a horrible psychologist. How many movies are we going to have where slashers have just these psychologists who like to gaslight the final girls?
What the fuck, dude?
And if you recognize Terry Kaiser, well, that's because he was Bernie in Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2.
I wasn't 100% about that.
He's also in Roseblood, a Friday the 13th fan film. So somehow he comes back for the fan film. I don't know how, because he's definitively killed in this. But whatever.
Well, Jason comes back too, so you just never know with these movies, okay?
And the way he dies is hilarious, though, because he keeps falling in the woods, and Jason takes his sweet time, like, wait, I'm not going to kill you with a machete. Look, I got something better than this. And he goes back, and he gets like a fucking... some kind of weed cutter or something. And he's like, okay, this is how I'm going to take this fucker out.
Oh my God. And it was sweet, sweet justice. It really was. Jason, he saved the hose a few times in these films.
He actually has.
Yes.
We'll get to it. Jason's actually sympathetic in some of these movies. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, not this one necessarily, but in some of the later ones.
And as it stands, has still not harmed an animal.
That is true.
A dog.
From a Whisper to a Scream is another movie that Terry Kaiser was in. That's a horror movie. And then finally, Suzanne Jennifer Sullivan plays Melissa Parr, who is the scheming mean girl that finally gets an axe to the head toward the end of the movie.
Was she scheming? She was a mean girl, but she was also a hoe.
Well, she was, but she was wanting to get with Nick, so that's where the scheming parts comes in, because she has the only actual narrative arc of any of the extra characters, in the fact that she used the one nerdy guy to try to get back at Nick. I don't know how that was going to work out, but that's what she's trying to do. Synopsis: Carrie versus Jason. Next. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not, except, oh, yeah, and they were all going to laugh at her too. Huh. Okay, I didn't even think about that.
The director even said that's what the movie was.
Oh, my God. But, I mean, I'm not saying Carrie wasn't good, because it was. She's just not covered in blood, so she's just, fucking making it happen.
Well, okay. Funny you say that. So the movie is officially called Friday the 13th, The New Blood.
Yeah.
Fans called it Friday the 13th, The No Blood, because there is literally no blood in this movie, because it is the one that is cut to fucking shit.
Okay, that makes sense. I didn't even think about that. I mean, there was a little bit of blood, but not like, yeah.
Every kill in this movie is a cutaway, like every single one.
And it was the kills were so clean.
They're the variety of the kills, the way that Jason even goes back to get the like I said, the weed cutter to take out the Terry Cruz's character, or Terry Kaiser's character, Dr. Cruz. It is such a travesty that they cut this movie as bad as they did. Like, I mean, of all the movies in the series, this would have had some of the best kills, and they fucking cut every one of them to the bone.
Yeah, I was not a fan.
It will give you major slasher blue balls because you get no payoff in this movie.
Yeah.
Body count 16.
That's respectable.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It gets way better though as we get along. Like, these movies have ridiculous kill counts. John Shepard is drowned by his daughter.
Yeah.
Jane is stabbed. Michael has a tent spike to the back. Dan is punched through the back and has his neck broken. That's a fucking good kill. Just having that punch. That's where Kane Hodder really shows his ferocity. That punch to the back was just.
Yeah, and okay. So one of the things we've always noticed. Well, I don't think it shows so much of him in this film. Maybe the next one, but like. Some of the films, you just know Jason Voorhees is super fucking strong. He just has this strength, and he rarely struggles. In this movie, he doesn't struggle as much, but he starts to struggle with some of the scenes where he's holding people up, and I feel like it's really him doing it.
It's really Kane Hodder like folding people in half or trying to.
And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, because I don't know. Anyways, we'll get further into that.
Kane Hodder loves that stuff, so like I could totally see him saying, nope, you're not going to just make this some kind of contraption. I'm going to do it,
Yeah.
Judy is slammed against the tree in a sleeping bag. Oh, yes! Man, what a fucking kill. They double up on it, and it's slightly better in Jason X, but chef's kiss this kill. Like, it's perfect for the character,
Yeah.
Russell gets an axe swung into his face. Sandra is drowned while skinny dipping. Maddie is stabbed with a scythe after she just repeatedly keeps hopping in and out of that fucking shed where Jason's at. It's like, bitch, run. Like, what are you doing? Ben has his head crushed. Kate has a party horn shoved in her eye. David is stabbed in the stomach. Eddie is hacked in the neck. Robin is thrown from a window to the walls. Amanda Shepard is impaled through the back. Dr. Cruz has a weed whacker to his stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And Melissa has an axe to the head. Quotes the narrator, and this was actually the voice actor for this scene was the actor who was Crazy Ralph. This was his very last thing he ever did in a movie before he passed away. There's a legend around here, a killer buried but not dead, a curse on Crystal Lake, a death curse. Jason Voorhees curse. They say he died as a boy, but he keeps coming back. Few have seen him and lived. Some have even tried to stop him. No one can. It's a pretty good legend for the character. I mean, it fits.
Yeah.
And, it kind of plays into the story. I told you that technically Jason has never been alive in any of these movies.
Yeah. It's a little long, though, don't you think?
Well, I mean, it's, it's the narration at the beginning of the movie.
Okay, fine. A little TLDR. I'm just kidding.
Sandra, while skinny dipping, you need a formal invitation? Russell, party for two. Right this way, please. And then Russell's like, when did you first fall in love with me? And then Sandra, the first time I saw the enormous size of your beautiful wallet.
Keeping it real.
David, what you know what I like about you, Robin? What, David? You hardly sweat at all. Man, that pothead David, he's a smooth talker. Let me tell you. Here's another one. After they have sex, David, I'm hungry, and then Robin, how romantic.
Bitch, that's your fault.
She knew what she was getting.
Yeah.
I mean, Melissa, Eddie, this isn't going to work out. And then Eddie's, what's the matter? And Melissa, I lied. And then Eddie was like, lied about what? And Melissa was about everything. You just don't turn me on, really. But come on, at least I gave you a chance. You just didn't come through. Anyway, I was kind of hoping Nick would come back and find you with me. And then Eddie, why'd you lie? And then Melissa, make him jealous. And then Eddie, rejection. Okay, fine, I can take it. I've been rejected by some of the finest science fiction magazines in the continental United States.
So glad you included that quote, because I was like, I actually rewound this to hear him again. Like, did he just really fucking say that?
And then she asked him, it's like, where are you going, Eddie? And he's like, to take a cold shower. I got a date with soap on a rope.
I mean, she was just acting like a cold dead fish. So, buddy, you're probably going to have way more fun.
Yeah, that's probably true. And then he's like reading through the Michael's birthday card later, and it's like, happy birthday, Michael, you lucky son of a bitch. Many happy returns, love, Melissa. And then he throws cards to the side, and he's like, cunt. Other taglines for this movie. Her mind awoke Jason from the dead.
I mean, yeah, it fits, but no.
No. On Friday the 13th, Jason is back, but this time he's met his match.
Yes.
Jason is back, but this time someone's waiting.
She wasn't waiting. She wasn't.
No, she wasn't.
Not at all.
On Friday the 13th, Jason is back, but this time someone's waiting.
Okay, again.
That's even worse.
It's redundant. I know. That's just a longer version of the other one.
All right. Friday the 13th timeline. 1980, Tina Shepard is born. Friday the 13th, 1990, Tommy Jarvis and Megan Garris chained Jason Vorhees to the bottom of Crystal Lake.
Okay, so she was 10.
Oh, man. She was 10 when this happened. And let's just relish the fact that Tommy Jarvis was back.
Yes.
We had hot, Megan Garris as her, quote, kind of final girl. And one of the fucking best movies in the series, but we'll move on from that. October 13th, Tina Shepard, who is 10, as you said, while staying with her parents, activates her latent psychic powers and kills her father at Crystal Lake. After this, the town renames Forest Green back to Crystal Lake, because remember, in part 6, they didn't call it that because they didn't want the curse to come back on them. Friday the 13th, 1997, so this movie was made... Let's go back again to the 1988, I believe it was. Yes, 1988. The movie was made, but the actual movie itself takes place in 1997. If you can believe it or not, it's in the future.
Okay.
Tina, who is 17, returns to Crystal Lake with her mother and a psychologist as a way to help her overcome her guilt from her father's death. Tina, agitated by the scummy Dr. Cruz, manifests her power and accidentally frees Jason Voorhees. Saturday, June 14th, 1997, Jason kills 9 people before Tina uses her power to resurrect her father's ghost. Hoo boy. And chain him back into the lake. That's one way to put an end to Jason, I guess. Sunday, June 15th, 1997, Tina Shepard and Nick Rogers are the only survivors. A rescue team finds Jason's broken hockey mask.
Oh, yeah.
So... what did you think about the way that she killed Jason with her dead father coming back and pulling him down into the water? That made no sense to me whatsoever.
It didn't. Now, for the movie purposes, I understand why they did it, because it was very Jason Voorhees, like, hey, bitch, obviously her dad's not down there anymore. So that's where it didn't make sense. But, I mean...
You know what would have made more sense? And I thought this as soon as I saw it was getting toward the end, and I don't know why they didn't do it. The rock was still down there. The chain was still down there. Use her psychic powers to snake the chain out, wrap around his neck, pull him down.
That would have made a lot more sense. They had to make it gruesome, though, and have her dad pop out, which is insane. And it's also insane because multiple times in the movie, she's like, I miss him so much. But, like, she literally caught him beating her mom's ass.
Yeah, and that's the reason that she has all this trauma that built up and her psychic powers came out anyways.
Yeah. So, it made sense for the movie. I wasn't mad at it. I'm letting it pass on this one because it's very, I don't know, Jason Voorhees to have a dead body jump out of the water and pull him down. He got a taste of his own medicine,
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm giving it anyways.
Okay, visuals for this movie. We're getting the review here. This is one of my favorite visual looks for Jason in the entire series.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
The gloves they use that makes it look like his hand, there's like the bones of his fingers are sticking out.
Yeah.
The way that he's got that like that rib cage showing. When the mask is pulled off, that zombie face that he has is just perfect. Perfect look for Jason in this movie. My favorite in the series, actually. I like it better than part 6.
Yeah, no, Jason. There was nothing wrong with Jason. I have zero complaints about Jason. This movie it's Jason and only Jason.
One other thing I like about the visuals in the movie itself is that even though this is supposed to take place in June, which is stupid, the movie is clearly, it was clearly filmed in the fall, and it feels like a fall Halloween movie.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. It does. It was almost, because I was wondering, like, what are these kids doing here? Are they just partying for a weekend? Like, but it's supposed to be, I guess, summer. It didn't feel that way at all.
It's a fall movie. It really is.
Yeah. Visually, though, too, certain things like, like when she's throwing Jason around, kind of when she's using her powers, I thought it looked good. I didn't think it looked cheesy. I didn't think it looked too cheap.
The only thing that looks cheap is there's a couple times when she throws things at him that they take a little bit of time to start moving, and it's like it's slow motion.
Yeah.
Or it's not really slow motion, but it's so slow that it's kind of laughable when it hits, Kane Hodder, and you see him react where it's like, oh man, all that force from that. Like there's no force being,
Yeah.
But when she throws him around, it looks fine.
Yeah. Which is pretty funny because that's not an easy person to throw around.
The story. Oh man, the story. There's worse stories in this series. Don't get me wrong. This is plain Jane. Like, put some people near a lake.
Yeah.
Find a reason for Jason to come back. Have him kill him. Have him thrown back in the lake. Bing bang boom. You're done. Oh, and throw some psychic stuff in there.
Yeah, but I'm not. I was mad when I found out about the psychic stuff, but I also not mad. I was mad. I thought I was going to be mad, and I wasn't. It wasn't the worst thing that could happen.
The psychic thing is actually cool.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people bring up that they like about this movie.
Yeah.
However, I could not forgive it for this. And we get bad acting in this series all the time.
Yeah.
Bad acting I can deal with. Flat characters that don't have personalities, boo. Fuck you, boo. Like, none of the characters in this movie, even Tina,
Tina's the worst.
She is just a wet, like, rag or something in this movie. Like, nothing. Like, you get nothing from anybody in this movie other than Jason. Like, he is the only thing that's got any personality in the whole film.
So I know
maybe Terry Kaiser's character, Dr. Cruz. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all.
Even the mom kind of sucked. You're right. The characters were kind of just there. Kane Hodder had a fucking brilliant personality in this film, so it's kind of hard to compete with that. But I know you and I discussed. My husband and I could not get over how much Tina looks like our daughter. How much our daughter looks like Tina now. Our daughter's got that same face shape as Tina.
I was getting ready to say the face shape is what really said, because you showed the picture. I'm like, yes, her face shape looks exactly like her. In that.
When Tina was crying, dead on looks like my daughter. The only major difference, they even have the same nose. The only major difference is my daughter has bigger lips than Tina, and whatever, it is what it is. But even my daughter accidentally has the same hairstyle as Tina in this movie, which is so fucking hilarious. But not only does you look, similar to Tina, my daughter has the same exact personality, which is so funny. My daughter has the personality. She's a teenager right now. She has the personality of a wet rag unless something amazing happens. And this girl once in a fucking full moon will smile. Okay. So watching this, it was like I am watching my daughter on screen right now. Tina acted like the typical teenager.
Yeah,
teenage girl, which sucks because again, I'm not saying that's great. I'm not gonna praise her for it at all. She sold it to me because I literally live with a teenage daughter, so she was every bit the teenage daughter. But boy, did she have the personality of a wet rag. It sucked.
That's my biggest problem with this movie. Like, I was watching it and I was having so much, and also going back to the visuals, the lack of blood and the lack of any kind of major gore, it really hurt this movie. It really did.
Yeah, it could have been so much better. There was so many good kills. You could even, like, looking at somebody who was murdered, no blood gushing out of them, no blood dripping down to where when the people catch them, you don't see blood coming out of their mouth or something. No blood on the trees.
Yeah, there's nothing. Like, if that scene where he slammed the and I'm not even going to remember the name, don't care, slammed the one chick in the sleeping bag against a tree, which is the best kill probably in the series, honestly.
Yeah.
Whenever he does that, even if they'd added a crunch or just something else to that, it would have been awesome.
But nothing. No, we weren't given a lot. We were literally only given the visuals of Kane Hodder moving, and that was pretty much it. And knowing what had happened, and it just wasn't good enough.
Yeah. The thing that bothers me about this is I remember liking this movie as a kid because, obviously 6 being the one that I love, and then like 7, the very direct continuation of Zombie Jason.
Yeah.
It just let me down so bad because I went into it. I'm like, okay, round the movie out now. Let's, we've got Jason, we got Kane Hodder, we got the zombie thing going on. The cool fall look to it, even though it's supposed to be set during the summer.
Yeah.
We got the final girl who's a psychic. Awesome. Let's do. And then every character that came in the movie, it's like, who's that? Who's that? Random person A, random person B. By the end of the movie, I'm like, I don't care anymore about these people.
No,
like,
you
I
don't.
don't.
Care. Yeah. The only one I cared about was the mom. I kind of felt bad that, she had to go. Granted, she made a lot of dumb decisions.
Yeah, she did.
She had a way of bringing toxic men, not only in her life, but her daughter's life. She had every good intention. She just was dumb, which is sad. Everything else, I couldn't even ask anymore. Who's this? Who's this? Who's this? It eventually turned into who cares? Who cares? Who cares?
That's exactly what the problem is. And anybody who makes the argument that you're there for the slasher and just the people, are populated just from the react to, I disagree with that statement. If you want a slasher to be memorable, you need a, like a Johnny Depp, Glenn character. You need a, you need basic, or like trying to think, Friday the 13th. When you get to the remake for this series, Jared Padalecki and then Danielle Panabaker, like perfect. Like they got a little bit of personality to them. You care just enough that if Jason gets around, it's like, oh shit, get out of the way. When they're like they are in this movie, like yes, they're fodder for the machete, but you get to the point where they're just, you don't care anymore. You really don't.
That's unfortunate.
And the music, it's fine. It doesn't stand out to me. It's fine.
It doesn't stand out good or bad, so that's good. That's a good thing, because there was one where the first thing I put is the music fucking sucks.
I think I've got in my mind which one that is. But we'll see. All right, trivia. During filming, Kane Hodder's dressing room was a quarter of a mile down a dirt road.
What?
One night, the filming ended at 2 a.m., and while still in the Jason costume, he decided to walk through the woods on a path to his dressing room. As he was walking, someone approached him and asked if he was with a movie. He didn't reply because he thought it was a pretty stupid question to ask, and he just stood there in full Jason costume staring the person down.
What the fuck?
When the man asked again, Kane took a little lunge at him and grunted. The guy took off tripping and running. The next day, director John Carl Buechler told Kane that the local sheriff was supposed to stop by, but he never showed.
What the fuck? That is awesome. And I agree with Kane Hodder. What a dumb fucking question.
Are you from the movie?
How? Oh my God. You know what though? That would be my son. Maybe he was special needs.
Maybe. I don't know.
Ooh, that's hilarious. No, because my son wouldn't have called the police. He would have came, ran to me and been like, Mom! There's a real Jason in the woods. And I'd be like, yeah, well, they're fucking filming down the street. So, son, I'm going to need you to calm down. And maybe if you're nice, or if you're good, we can go meet the nice gentleman. He'll let you take a picture with him.
And he won't choke you while he's taking the picture like he does everybody else.
Not you, but maybe if Mommy's a good girl, he'll choke Mommy. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, if you really want it choked, I'm telling you, Kane Hodder can choke.
I know. Maybe he thought you were into that.
I was not. Let me tell you, meeting C.J. Graham was a lot better experience because he didn't do that. C.J. Graham just held the machete very close to my jugular.
Yeah.
So there you go.
You're like, oh, hey, I bet you though. Does that picture look good that you got with Kane Hodder? Does it look real?
No, because my face is red and literally,
I love it.
And I had quite a bit more weight too. But like the weight, you can tell. I mean, like my neck is like 2 sizes smaller than like the rest. It's bad.
Oh, I'm not going to ask you to show that photo, but man, that's awesome.
He makes you pay for the picture. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Carrie Noonan, who played Paula in Friday the 13th Part 4 or Part 6, Jason Lives, read for the role of Tina when she thought the title was Birthday Bash. She quickly realized that it was another Friday the 13th film and confessed that she'd starred in the last movie, so John Carl Bickler decided not to cast her.
Oh, that's fucking lame.
She wanted to be in a slasher movie called Birthday Bash and then finds out it's another Friday film.
I mean, that's a film that we would definitely review here at Death Holler.
In Kane Hodder's book, Unmasked, the true story of the world's most prolific cinematic killer, man, what a title.
I know.
He notes that one of his fondest memories of Part 7 shoot was the film's costume department making his mother a custom Jason's mom crew member's jacket, which he found very amusing. He says that she would wear it during the whole final 2 decades up until her passing.
Aww.
And he noted there would be over 90 degrees Fahrenheit in his hometown of Sparks, Nevada, but she would still proudly wear it to the grocery store, hoping someone would say something about being, about her famous son, basically.
Aww. So does he still live in Sparks? Because I love Sparks, Nevada. I would, I could see myself moving there now.
Director John Carl Bickler has publicly fumed many times over the years about the number of edits required by the MPAA to avoid an X rating. The film had to be submitted 9 times to the Motion Picture Association of America before being granted an R rating, and it stands as arguably the most heavily censored in the series.
Yeah, I wouldn't have rated it. We got away with so much back in the 80s. You're telling me this movie was rated R?
Well,
there was titties.
Well, here's the thing, though. They had gotten, because of the outrage from people like Siskel and Ebert, about how, graphic these movies were. Friday the 13th in particular got targeted. Like, I feel like the MPAA had like just a target on their back, and they were like, what do you want to do in this movie? No, resubmit. And they cut these last few. It took until like the late 90s, early 2000s before they got over that shit and allowed the gore to come back into these films.
Yeah, and that is most unfortunate, honestly. I like how at the bottom it says fans had nicknamed the movie Friday the 13th the No Blood.
Yeah,
that is no.
And sadly, any hopes of a complete uncut version of the film being released are completely gone because it's been revealed that the footage no longer exists as Paramount destroyed all the outtakes.
Paramount, big mistake.
If they had an uncut version of this movie, it would have probably shot up my list as one of my favorites, to be honest with you.
It was a decent movie. It lacked so much.
Well, and the characters still would have heard it just because they should have put a little bit more into the characters. I mean, even if it didn't have to be a lot. They just need to have personalities, and they didn't any of them. But
yeah.
John Carl Bickler was so impressed with Kane Hodder when he ate live worms on the set of Prison, as I said, that he pushed for Paramount Pictures to let him cast Hodder in the role of Jason. If it had not been for Bickler's persistence, they were for sure going to let C.J. Graham come back. Yeah,
and it's not like that would have been a bad thing, I mean, I do love Hodder's fucking version, but I don't hate C.J. Graham's.
No, I mean, he played like the methodical killer pretty well in Part 6. I mean... the film was subtitled The New Blood with the intention of Tina becoming a protagonist who would reoccur in further sequels, although that idea was shelved.
Okay.
Lar Park Lincoln and Kevin Spiritus, as I said, did not get along while making this movie, despite playing love interests, so much so that Spiritus wrote his own script for Part 7, or Part 8, actually, where The New Blood was only a dream and his character had killed Tina.
Yeah.
In all 4 films that Kane Hodder played Jason, Parts 7, 8, 9, and 10, Hodder does not blink whenever Jason's one good eye is visible on screen. There's another thing he adds to it.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that.
William Butler, who plays Michael, was also part of the makeup effects team, and he helped Kane Hodder with his prosthetic appliances. Because Kane would sweat in his latex makeup appliances, which would often be removed and later reused, Butler gave him the nickname Stinky Voorhees.
Ew.
After ideas for a Freddy vs. Jason film materialized at the time, Paramount was still so high on the Jason versus blank marketing angle that they substituted Freddy Krueger for a Stephen King-inspired character, a telekinetic troubled teenager named Tina Shepard, based on Carrie White. According to New Blood screenwriter Daryl Haney, this concept more or less came about due to a last-second idea thrown out during a story pitch. An actual crossover wouldn't have been possible, as Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer owned the rights to King's novel Carrie. Also, Carrie died in the book and the movie version, so appearing in the film would make little no sense. But she does kind of appear out of the grave in that little stinger scene at the end of the original Carrie movie, so you can kind of play around with that. So even back in 1988, they wanted Freddy and Jason to fight each other.
I mean, it just makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Walt Gorney, who played Crazy Ralph, came back in the narration for the opening. There you go. Death Hall Awards. Tina Shepard. What do we think of her as a final girl?
I mean, that looked just like my baby girl. So so far, she's been solid. She's not the best final girl of our reviews by any means.
She's definitely not the best in the series either.
No, she's not. And you know what? The thing about it is that she's got to cheat. It's not fair. You can't have a cheat code.
Yeah, but honestly, I mean, zombie Jason Voorhees, I mean, a regular final girl's not going to cut it either.
That is true. That is true. But there are other people that did have to figure a way out. And granted, maybe they didn't permanently, but they got him to stop for a while.
Yeah.
If she wasn't going to do it, then she was going to fucking learn.
You're going to make him go down the sewers and get covered in toxic sludge so he can turn back into somehow a non-mongoloid small child.
A little tiny 10-pound, 9-ounce, baby Jason Voorhees.
What? Yeah, that's what you're going to do. Shut up. Or you're going to be the half relative to Jason Voorhees and stab him with a Kandarian dagger. What?
Yeah, you gonna do it? You want to?
Best kill. Either Dan punched directly through the back or Judy in the sleeping bag.
Oh, sleeping bag for me all the way. I don't even remember being punched through the back. I'm over it.
I love the punch through the back because it just shows his strength. But yes, sleeping bag kill.
Anything, and you know what's so funny about that is anything that, well, I guess picking up a whole ass girl in a fucking sleeping bag and swinging her like she ain't nothing, and that it looked real. It didn't look like he just picked her up and she was absolutely nothing. It did look like she had some weight to her.
It did, and the fact that it just fits his character so well, because who does Jason kill? Campers or camp counselors.
Yes.
What is associated with camping? Sleeping bags. You got the connection instantly.
Yeah, the sleeping bag kill was 100% mine.
I mean, it's his quintessential kill, if you ask me. I mean, there's no better than that. Best scream, I guess Sandra. I don't know. This movie don't really have. I mean, the characters' screams are about as lame as the characters are.
Yeah.
So. Best boobs, Robin, because she's like one of the few people. Well, actually, she has some decent tits. Like, to give her credit. Like, I mean, she's one of the few people in the movie that shows them. But like she's got some decent ones.
Is Robin the mean girl?
No, Robin's the one girl that wanted to party with a pothead that and then it turns out he just liked her because she didn't sweat, or whatever.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a spoiler alert for the next actual segment of this, folks. None of these girls are going to top Brie in the remake. Just
oh yeah, I've already seen her titties, so yeah.
Man.
Because those are real titties. These itty bitty titties just ain't doing it.
They're real, and whenever she's up riding whatever his name is, Todd or whatever it is, the way that the gravity pulls them down. I'm just saying I don't see the plasticity there if they were. So. Yeah, no,
they definitely they're real, and and as we get older, gravity pulls them down even lower if you're into that. So
Let's see. Best side character. I don't know, Michael, because he's only in it for a few seconds and he's got the most acting cred of any of the other side characters.
I am going to throw in my own and say it was the cat in the attic.
Sure.
Was that this film?
What?
I don't even know.
I don't even remember A Cat in the Attic, but sure. What do you want to give the name to this character?
Hold on. Maybe it wasn't this movie, but I don't think, no, because I don't think it wasn't in, I think it was this movie. There was a girl that who made it up to the attic before she got thrown through a window.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
There was a kitty cat. She was petting a kitty cat up there. Best side character.
What do you want to give the name to the cat?
Marmalade.
Okay, there you go. Franklin Award, either Tina, because she's just a wet blanket and annoying as fuck through most movie, but probably Dr. Cruz, because fuck that guy.
Dr. Cruz. Because, well...
I mean, he's pretty shitty. I mean, he really is.
He is. Okay, hear me out. The mom.
Yeah.
For whose stupidity.
Yeah, and she, they say that you're, like evil, all that evil has to do to really prosper is for good people to do nothing, and she does the absolute minimal of anything.
Yeah, so. she is all into. She's like, you're not gonna do that. Yes, I am. Okay, I mean, might as well. It's like reluctant porn, where like the porn actress is like, no, okay. No, what are you doing? Okay.
And she even, like, when she goes in there and she's like, what is this metal piece? Is that what Tina? No, that's not. Just
okay.
Ignore it. She's like, okay.
And then you know what's funny? Even funnier, she watches 3 seconds of the doctor, like he has videotapes of him, I don't know, verbally assaulting her daughter. And she watches it for like 2 to 3 seconds. He walks in and she's like, oh my God, you've been abusing my daughter into blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bitch, you did not catch that in 3 seconds.
Well, that's the level of, storytelling that they went for in this movie.
Yeah, so my Franklin Award goes to the mom.
I'll agree with that. That's a good point about her. Because Dr. Cruz wouldn't have even had the opportunity.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the mother, allowing it.
And her her stupidity, but also vulnerability. She really made it that way, How
annoying is the Doom Prophet? Well, I don't know if there really is one, but we get Crazy Ralph's voice back, so give it to him.
Yeah, I agree.
Dumbest moment, Maddie sliding in and out of Jason's murder shed. Oh my God, like the 4th time she did it, I'm like, bitch, get dead.
I know.
Now.
And then hid against the wall that is just literally this tiny rice paper of a wall between her, and he could walk around the corner if he really wanted to, and he could see your feet from underneath there. And
guess what? That thin ass wall, super zombie Jason, he punches through it just like you figured he would.
It was so predictable, but it was great because she needed to go, especially after that. Oh no, I lost my earring.
And then she go back for like a shoe or something stupid. Something at one point, like, yes, you need to be dead.
Yeah, get gone.
All right, folks, let's move on to the next one here. Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan from 1989. Tagline, I love New York, with the heart symbol in the shape of a bloodied ice hockey mask.
Oh, I like that.
Directed by Rob Hedden, written by Rob Hedden, based on characters by Vic Miller, music by Fred Molin, budget of $5 million, only made 14.3, but it still made a profit.
Yeah.
Principal players, we have Jensen Daggett playing Rennie Wickham, who is the final girl in the movie. What a name.
Yeah.
She was in Major League Back to the Minors. We have Ace, who plays Toby the dog, who's a certified good boy.
100% certified good boy and survivor.
And a survivor. Scott Reeves plays Sean Robertson, Rennie's boyfriend. He was in Days of Our Lives. That tends to be a common thing that like soap opera actors are in these movies.
Not a high schooler by any means.
No, not at all. Kane Hodder plays Jason Voorhees again. He's the soggy zombie slasher in this one.
He's tired of being all wet too.
He is always wet in this movie. Like it's dripping out of him constantly. Todd Caldecott plays Jim Miller, who is Susie's boyfriend.
Whoever the fuck Susie is.
Well, that's Tiffany Paulson, who plays Susie Donaldson, who's Jim's girlfriend. You can see a little bit of her titty through her shirt, so she's got that going for her. We have Saffron Henderson playing JJ Jarrett, who's the rocker chick and the ex of Wayne. Charlene Martin plays Tamara Mason, who's the best fucking friend of Eva. Fred Henderson plays Chief Engineer Jim Carlson. He was in Final Destination 2, by the way.
Nice.
Warren Munson plays Admiral Robertson. We have Kelly Hugh playing Eva Watanabe, I guess. Watanabe, I guess is how you say it. Best fucking friend of Tamara, or Tamara. She was in The Scorpion King, though. Kelly Hugh is pretty fucking hot in The Scorpion King, if you've ever seen that.
Gorgeous. Okay, so she basically looks the same as she did in Scorpion King Queen. Okay, sorry, my bad. But she has gray hair now. And she's one of those people that makes the gray hair look sexy, like gorgeous. Like she doesn't even look old. Her face is in perfect condition. And her gray hair, fuck her.
Well, it's that Asian gene, you know. They don't age quite the same. So
God, Kelly Hugh. She was also in wasn't she in like X2 or something in that Wolverine movie?
Yes. She was in X2.
God.
Martin, and the funny thing is as a teenager in this movie, she's not that pretty.
I mean, she's not ugly, but she's not hot.
Yeah, she's not hot, but she is hot in The Scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Cummins plays Wayne Weber. I think he's the video nerd or whatever. Gordon Curie plays Miles Wolfe, the best friend of Wayne, Sean, and Julius. Vincent Craig Dupree plays Julius Gaw, who's a boxing superstar on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara Bingham plays Colleen Van Dusen, who is the teacher who gets Rennie to come on this trip, even though she's afraid of water. And it's a cruise, which is not a good combination. And Peter Mark Richmond plays Charles McCulloch, who is Rennie's uncle, and actually is one of the better relatives in any of these movies because he actually gives a fuck about his niece. So good on you, sir.
A little bit, but he has a weird way of showing it, though.
Yeah, he does. He really does. And in that scene where Tamara tries to because he's a teacher too, she tries to get him to give her a better grade by first she tries to seduce him, but then she has Wayne come in and film it.
Yeah,
man, that's a cringy scene to try to watch. She's got some nice looking body in that scene, though. I'll give her that.
Better knockers than I've seen so far. Not the best, but still way better.
Yeah, that's true. Synopsis: 1 year after Tina used her psychic powers to summon the ghost of her father. God. And trap Jason at the bottom of Crystal Lake, a couple of horny teens revive him by dropping anchor on their mini yacht and tearing up an underwater power line. Why they run a power line through the fucking lake, I got no idea, folks. Do you have any ideas why they would run a power line through the middle of a lake?
Why is there a yacht on the fucking lake?
That's a good point, too.
Anyways.
Why is that lake connected to a river that connects to the ocean that allows them to go to New York? That's the main question you should be asking yourself.
And now you're getting into semantics.
Jason proceeds to climb aboard a cruise ship after he tears through these two teenagers with a group of high school teens and their chaperones and travel as they travel from New Jersey Lake to Manhattan by way of the ocean. Yes, I said that, folks. Crazy Ralph is reborn in a crazy deckhand.
Yep.
A teenage musician is killed by the power of rock, and an up-and-coming boxer gets his block knocked off. The Big Apple's in big trouble, folks.
I like that. Is that what they said?
That's one of the taglines for the movie.
Yes.
Body count: there's 42 people killed in this movie. Not on screen, but there are 42. Jim Miller is stabbed in the gut with a harpoon gun. Susie Donaldson is speared in the chest with a harpoon off of that gun, while one of her titties is kind of showing, by the way. J.J. Jarrett has her skull crushed with her own guitar. Man, that's a bummer. Mm-hmm. Boxing guy who was fighting against Julius early in the film gets his ass kicked, has a sauna rock shoved through his stomach while it's still sizzling.
And it catches on fire.
It has to be the most dramatic in the death ever. Mm-hmm. Tamara Mason is stabbed with a mirror shard.
More realistic. And I like how they I don't know if this was an accident, but Kane Hodder struggled a little bit to get the shards, or he was looking for the right one.
Yeah.
I loved it.
But it makes the character feel really,
yes.
That's what he adds to the character. It makes it feel realistic.
Yes.
And he's there.
I loved it.
Chief Engineer Jim Carlson is harpooned in the back. Admiral Robertson has his throat slit.
The lamest throat slit in the history of ever.
That's true. Yes, it's just and it's gone. Eva Watanabe is strangled to death.
Is
while
that
she's
in
at
the dance area?
The disco dance area.
That's
yes.
the one where he picked her up, and I was like, she is maybe 100 pounds soaking wet, and you're struggling to lift her to choke her. So my only reasoning for that was he's really trying to fucking lift her on his own.
I think he did lift her on his own.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really do think he did.
Because any Jason Voorhees before, even him in the previous movie, would have had no problem lifting her up and throwing her like it was no one's business.
That's true.
And,
I mean, if he can punch through your back and out your spine, I mean,
yes.
you know, that's...
So I had a hard time with it at first, but then I kind of told myself, you know what? This is him. He's really that strong. And, 100 pounds with one arm is still pretty impressive.
Let's see. Ship crew member is accidentally shot by Wayne. Wayne Weber is electrocuted by control board as he goes down there to look for JJ.
Loved it.
And finds her. Also, at this point, he has lost his glasses and he's using the viewfinder on his fucking camera to be able to see. So there's that.
Yeah.
Miles Wolf is impaled through the side by a weather vane.
Mm-hmm.
Or restaurant students are drowned by Jason.
Or Jason.
The person who put the Dead Meat Wiki put or Jason, meaning he just randomly he kills them how Jason kills them.
Yeah.
Slams them, whatever. 18 other students are presumably drowned or Jasoned on the ship before it sinks. And the funny thing about this movie is there's that movie that came out recently called Last Voyage of the Meteor, which is basically about the ship that traveled from Transylvania up to London, England. And the people who were on board when Dracula was there, and they just ran, one by one get killed by him. This plays like a version of that, honestly.
Yeah,
it really does.
It really does.
There's the deckhand that gets an axe to the back. Junkie number 1 gets a syringe through the back. Junkie number 2 has his head slammed into a pipe. This is the scene you were talking about where Jason actually saves the final girl from getting raped. So there's that. That's one thing. Jason... there's something honorable about him as a slasher because unlike Freddy, who's got and really in Freddy vs. Jason, he gets real skeezy with the sex stuff. But Jason, on the other hand, he hates sex in all of its forms, especially when you're trying to rape somebody. But we have Julius Gaw, which is probably one of the best kills in the series too. Gets his head just decapitated with one punch
after he tired himself out by trying to punch the fuck out of Jason, and he's obviously training to become a boxer, so apparently the first thing he didn't learn was, hey, you got to be careful, you'll tire yourself out, and that's exactly what he did.
A lot of people also pointed out that he literally had Jason next to the edge of the building. He could have tried to push him if nothing else.
I was thinking that too.
It probably wouldn't work. Jason would have probably grabbed him and slung him off, but that's better than getting your head punched off, just saying.
Which is what happened. He got his head punched off. But you know what I expected, and it didn't happen. I thought Jason was just going to gently just push him over, and he just fell to his fucking death. All that work, and all Jason was like, fuck it.
No, but it's Kane Hodder, and Kane Hodder's like, all right, my turn.
Yeah.
Bam!
And he did exactly, the kid asked for it. He's like, hey, give me your best shot. And he literally gave him, and I don't even know that was his best shot. I think that was pretty mid.
I think he held back.
Yeah, he did. And that head went flying, dude. That was awesome.
Police officer is killed off screen in an alleyway. Colleen Van Dusen's blown up in a car after Rennie tries to run into Ghost Child Jason and crashes all of them. Charles McCulloch is drowned, melted in toxic waste barrel. That's pretty gnarly whenever it happens.
He earned it.
A waiter is chucked into a mirror, and then a sanitation engineer is bashed in the head with a wrench.
That was pretty funny.
In the sewers. Other taglines: "The city that has seen it all ain't seen nothing yet."
Okay, I can go with it a little bit.
The biggest city in the world is about to be scared down the size.
No.
Life in the city is murder. That could apply to anything but New York, honestly. And then finally, New York has a new problem.
I do like that one because New York it's as if they didn't have enough going on, and now you've got Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, my favorite scene in any of these movies, I'm just going to throw it out there, and I sent it to you in a TikTok, I believe, is where he's literally walking down the street down in Times Square, I think it was.
Yeah.
And you got these kids sitting there listening to a boombox, and he just, in perfect Kane Hodder tradition, because he brings that about the character, he just up and kicks that fucking thing and sends it flying just out of nowhere. He doesn't care about the kids.
Yeah.
He's just tired of their fucking music playing.
Which is hilarious because it's like Jason Voorhees is the epitome of a grumpy old man, but a violent grumpy old man. Like, I done told you to turn this music off, and then he kicks it.
If there's anybody who could be considered a grumpy old boomer slasher, it would be Jason.
It'd be Jason. And then, like, when he pushes that girl hella hard, first off, like, that he did that for real. He did that for real. You know he did. That was not her, like, rolling on. I think he accidentally pushed her harder, not knowing his strength. She fucking whammed, and then she turned over. She whammed so hard, she had a delayed reaction. She was like, you know, like, I wouldn't have known what to do either. I'd have been like, am I fucking live? I need to check, because I think my soul left my body.
I think I just died right now.
Yeah, and like, okay, I'm alive, I can breathe. You know?
This movie, folks, is fun. I mean, it's not high cinema by any means, but it's fun. Quotes, this is a perfect example of it. As he's boxing Jason, Julius, go ahead, take your best shot, motherfucker. Jason punches his head off.
Yeah. Consent. It's important.
And Rennie, look, you don't understand. There is a maniac trying to kill us, the New York waitress. Welcome to New York.
You know, say what you will about California, especially Los Angeles. That wouldn't happen out here. I mean, there's murder happening, don't get me wrong. But it's not like, and they're just like, oh yeah, that's just another day in Los Angeles, you know?
Yeah, if it was in San Francisco, it'd be like, hey, I just stepped in 3 piles of human shit out there. And
yeah,
it's
like welcome to San Francisco.
All right, Friday the 13th timeline. 1980, Rennie Wickham was born. She's born the same year as Tina Shepard, just so you know. 1997, Tina Shepard frees Jason and then chains him back to the bottom of Crystal Lake again after a bunch of folks die.
Yeah.
May of 1998, 2 teenagers, Jim and Susie, bring Jason back to life with, in quotation marks, I mean, you know, whatever life is for an undead monster, with their boat and are consequently murdered. The next day, Jason rampages through a cruise ship headed for New York, killing most of the staff and high school seniors aboard. And then finally that night, the ship arrives in New York and Jason kills a bunch more people before getting exposed to toxic sewer sludge, reverting him back to his childlike form, and he seemingly dies.
And the good boy doggy lives.
Yes. And Ace, as Toby, the dog, lives.
Yes, and he was smart because Toby got the fuck out of there. He knows how to GTFO.
And the funny thing about Toby is he's gone for the entire movie, and then right at the end he comes back, he's like, he's dead now. I'm here.
Yeah, because Toby's smart. Toby knows what's up.
First of all, I mean, I'm going to skip ahead to the story. We'll get to the visuals in a second.
Okay.
I have no idea what they were trying to do throughout this movie with the ghost of child Jason appearing to Rennie and like trying to communicate with her, trying to warn her. I don't know what the ghost was trying to do, but and then the thing that kills me about it is that if they'd had the ghost be the Mongoloid Jason, which is what everybody remembers him as, okay, little weird that, you know, but I could buy like the spirit of the child is like trying to, you know, is feeling bad about the murders that the, you know, undead grown body is committing, so it's trying to prevent them somehow. Okay, yeah, that's a cool concept. But he appears as a normal child through most of these scenes. Like, what the fuck were they doing with that?
So in the worst way ever, they tried to imply that Rennie has this somewhat of a psychological problem because, you know, she almost drowned when she was younger and she saw him.
She almost drowned as a child, probably around when she was 10.
Yeah.
Let's just throw it in there because it doesn't really say. And somehow, even though Jason Voorhees was a, you know, big-bodied killer during this time, his ghost in the lake is what tried to drown her.
Yeah. So what you have to try to at this point, it's choose your own adventure. Did she know the stories and she imagined that's why she was drowning? And she saw Jason Voorhees? Because as it continues, the rest of her life, she just keeps seeing it. So I'm by the end of the movie, I'm like, is she just fucking imagining this? Because she just sees this kid. I feel like it's her own brain imagining that that's what she's seeing.
That could be the case because
it's the only logical thing I can think of.
It doesn't make any sense that the kid version of Jason's out there specifically only appearing to her. Like,
it's my dumb explanation to explain the stupid away. Okay.
Now, moving back from that, at one step, the plot hole of somehow Crystal Lake, a lake that is landlocked, being connected to a river that's also connected to the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, that can connect to New York, is pretty fucking stupid.
Is it? You don't know. I'm just kidding. Hold on, I'm looking up Crystal Lake right now. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so getting back from the story, which we will agree is just, it's ridiculous. It really
all
is.
we know about this story is that, and all we're allowed to care about is the fact that we need to get Jason Voorhees into New York City.
Yes, that is all that matters in this whole story.
Don't ask any other questions. You'll be thoroughly disappointed.
Visually,
yes,
they did better with the kills.
Oh, so much better kills in this one. They had some dumb ones, but they were mostly good.
I cared about the characters. This kind of skips into acting a little bit, but they gave the characters enough personality that I could distinguish them. You had the mean girl; she stood out. JJ with dreams of being a rocker chick.
Yep.
I mean, a very 80s rocker chick,
yes.
by the way. Wade with his like creepy, like, I'm going to be a film student, but I'm also going to be a perv and like film everything type, thing.
Yeah.
The boyfriend who's kind of like the son of the admiral, he's the least defined. He would have fit in the last movie, honestly. He really would have.
Yeah, I mean, I understood his story. Like, everyone wants him to be this thing, and he, like, reluctantly, he doesn't really want to, but it's like he has to be. And then he's called into action, and it's like he really did have it in him,
Yeah, but he does have a personality that's still better in the last movie. Uncle Charles, y'all, he's going to be strong. He's going to, he's got a personality.
When you don't care about, but you do, you're like, okay, it adds to the story.
Even the deckhand, that's basically Crazy Ralph Jr.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, it's, that. I like the fact that they gave, I mean, even if they were just the most simple, like little, like narrative, like little things from the work with, even Kelly Hughes' character, I mean, she's just kind of the hot, not as hot as she would be, but a hot Asian chick that's on the boat.
Everything kind of tied together. Everything was cohesive. They all worked together. It wasn't the best acting, but it also wasn't the worst acting.
Yeah, I can enjoy this movie. I'll just say it more than the last, just because they actually made the characters, have personalities.
Yes.
And going back to the visuals, the kills were good. Jason looks amazing in this movie, although they don't remove his mask except for the end, and that's a weird look that he has at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like he's like Dusty Zombie at that point, and I don't understand that at all.
Especially after he's been in the water, yeah.
But the body and how the liquid oozes out of him, it's perfect. It really is for the movie.
Yeah, in terms of the, character, I guess this is going to go into the acting. I talked about acting a little bit, but really when we talk about the characters and you did kind of care about them, I'll be honest with you, the one I cared about the most was definitely the dog. So, I just want to throw that out there. Toby.
But they put Toby in the movie, so they gave you something to root for.
Yeah.
As opposed to a random cat that just appears in the attic and disappears.
Yeah, you know what? But Jason still, look at the animals are there to show that Jason will not harm the animals. I am convinced of it.
Also visually, this movie has a lot of night scenes, and they do a pretty good job with
them. Especially the New York, alley scenes and things like that. They did a great job.
Music.
Fuck this music.
You probably hate this music. I liked it because it hits the 80s nostalgia big time.
It does.
It really does.
I will not take that away, but oh my God, it was so cringy at the beginning. I was like, this is fucking terrible.
And if you listen, I mean, if you don't hate 80s music and you listen to that song that JJ is like, her song in the movie, it's actually not it's got a kind of a good beat to it.
Okay,
like, I mean,
hers is better, definitely, than what was playing at the beginning of the film.
What about the one that's playing at the end of the film? The one about like, something, and I think this is what I told you to end the show on, that something in the heart or whatever. It's like, it's a very 80s sounding like pop ballad or something.
Well, okay. So I don't remember it, and that might be a good thing, because obviously I remembered the bad stuff. So if I didn't notice it, I don't know if I need to watch it again. I might have. As soon as it ended, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I probably rolled right into the next film because I was literally watching these at work.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and give us your thoughts on this, because you had some very opinionated thoughts on this.
I just said, look, I don't know who I need to contact, but I think I'm owed some kind of compensation for having to watch this film. And now that we're talking about it, I'm realizing, okay, well, I didn't hate it that bad. Clearly, I loved Toby so much. But it's okay. Now that I'm looking at it at a different way, it's a little bit of a comedy. It's got some comedy in it. It's a lot better to me.
Bit.
Yeah, it's actually a lot better. I really didn't like the uncle. He got on my nerves, and I know that was his job. He did his job. The girl, the survivor, the fucking final girl, I almost don't know that she deserved to survive.
Well, also the fact that she did, unlike for the final girl to be a final girl, she technically has to take the power back in her hands.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this, like Tina obviously could because it's Carrie, whatever. You didn't really have that option with Rennie because she's just a regular girl. And she happens, because of the MacGuffin of or the plot point of like somehow the toxic sludge destroys Jason's body and reverts him back to a living child or whatever the fuck happened. She kind of just lucked into surviving.
Yeah. And I just remember, look at the end. Now, had we not found Toby at the end, and I know I keep bringing up Toby, but had we not found Toby at the end and he was sitting there, I would have been seriously pissed off because I saw sweet tiny baby Jason and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was like, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. How are we supposed to move forward with this? Is she imagining this? Is he still alive? Like, are we going to see him in the streets of fucking New York again like we did in one scene? It didn't make sense to me, and I was just kind of happy to move away from it. I was like, okay, next, So, I don't know. There was... the kills were better than the previous one. The only reason I also like the previous one is because like that little girl looked like my daughter and acted like my daughter, and I was like, oh, I get to see my child in a film,
It's just funny to me because this, by most fans, is the most until Jason Goes to Hell was was the most hated of the Friday films because it is weak. It really is, like plot and all that. But like if you come back, like I've changed on this movie because I used to hate it quite a bit. I mean, there were certain scenes in it, like Jason kicking over the boom box and all that I always loved. But then like him punching the, Julius's head straight off, course. But like, I was just like, yeah, this is pretty lame. But like going back and rewatching, especially after 7, like I appreciate the little bits they interjected in this movie that made it enjoyable.
Yeah, I have definitely a little bit more. Now that we've been discussing it, I definitely appreciate it a little bit more. I don't know that I would like go out of my way to watch this. A lot of the Jason films are on rewatch just because they're Jason films, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would. I mean, now just because I kind of, I see the fun in it. I mean, as long as a lot of these movies I've changed my mind on because I'm just going to throw this out there. This spoiler for Freddy Vs. Jason. I was very disappointed in that movie when it first came out in theaters because what I wanted in the movie is not what they gave me in the movie. I wanted just nonstop fighting the entire way through that.
Yes.
What they gave me was a bunch of humans, spectators who were kind of caught in the middle, and I was like, fuck these people, I don't care about any of them. But rewatching it, I actually gave a shit about a lot of them. So
yeah, I did not like them either. I kind of, I know we'll get into it here very soon, but yes, I would have appreciated more fighting, but I also understand why they did it. I kind of like the buildup. My husband said something very interesting. We'll elaborate on it when we're doing Freddy vs. Jason, but he's like, Freddy vs. Jason is a Freddy movie. And I was like, what? And he goes,
it is.
Yes. And he goes, it's a Freddy movie, just so you know. And I was like, well, we're still reviewing it during this, so I don't, And he's like, no. He's like, I'm just letting you know it's a Freddy movie. And I was like, okay. Thanks for your input.
It's a Freddy movie where Jason gets all the kills.
Yes. And I was loving it. So.
All right. Trivia for Jason Takes Manhattan. First up, Kane Hodder says that one of the most fun parts of his tenure as Jason were the scenes in Times Square. He says that the spectators were lined up and down the block watching the filming, and he didn't want to take off the mask to destroy their illusion of Jason. He said every once in a while he'd turn his head and look at them and watch them all go crazy.
I would fucking die. I would die. I mean, I know you got to meet him, and was he dressed as Jason or was he just Kane Hodder when you met him?
He's just Kane Hodder usually, and he's dressed all in black. That's what he usually does.
Which is fine. But oh my God, like that would be so fun. My dream of meeting Jason Vorhees or any of the actors portraying Jason Vorhees is, hi, Mr. Vorhees. I'm your biggest fan. Shaking his hand. He's super nice. He looks like a fucking zombie Jason. That's my dream. Kane Hodder or any Jason Voorhees actor turning and giving me a menacing look, amazing. I would fall over and pass out.
They're just completely different in how they interact too, because him and CJ Graham were both at Scarefest at the same time, and like CJ Graham was like really nice, whenever he was signing the stuff and all. Not to say that Kane Hodder wasn't, but like CJ was like really, and then like when he got up there, that the machete to the throat, and then like Kane Hodder is kind of like he's kind of got that air about him, like, I'm, like I get this all the time type stuff. Not in a rude way, but but then whenever he gets up there, then it's just like, okay, you're gonna get choked, and it's like, all right,
you're gonna get what you asked for.
Yeah. So
do you know, and I don't know if you've mentioned this before, we've talked about so many Friday the 13th movies, and you said, well, it's not CJ that replaced, it's Kane that replaced CJ. So do those two get along pretty well?
See, I don't know if they do or not, because like I feel like in some of this trivia it said that well, maybe it was Kurzinger that replaced Jason, or Kane as Jason in the Freddy versus Jason. I feel like they get along, but him and CJ, they were at completely different spots at Scarefest, so I don't know if that was intentionally done.
Hold on, Google's answering. Apparently they've done in costume photos together.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
You would like to think that it's been long enough that even if they had beefs, that they would be over them by now.
I would hope so. Like, come on, do it for the children.
They're grown-ass adults. They should be,
I would think that Kane, because it sounded almost as if Kane, they went with, with Ken, with CJ, they kind of just, I don't know what kind of warning there was or wasn't. Maybe we'll get into that in the other movies when Kane is replaced.
Yeah, I think it's in the trivia for that movie.
Perfect. So. We'll move from there then.
Rob Hedden originally wrote more of the movie to be set in New York. He had written scenes at Madison Square Garden, the Brooklyn Bridge, the Statue of Liberty, and Empire State Building, but Paramount told him that the budget would not allow him to spend that much time in New York, so he was forced to rewrite the film and spend more time on the cruise ship. He agrees with the fans who complain that there's not enough time spent in New York given the title.
I agree with that. Like when I'm watching a slow burn, I'm like, okay, when is the action going to happen? Well, there was a ton of action on the ship, so that's the only thing that saved it. But I was like, fuck, when are they getting to New York already?
Yeah, it's in the title. What are they doing with this?
Real quick, though, Reverend, I think, did you skipped over one where fucking Kane Hodder was dancing?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me go back to that one.
Because I saw that, I was like, what the fuck?
Despite the nature of the film and adverse filming conditions, Kane Hodder provided several moments of levity, which were appreciated by the cast following several death scenes. For example, once Rob Hedden, the director, called cut, Hodder would do a brief disco dance in full Jason costume makeup, making the cast laugh.
I mean, fucking awesome. But do you think on a movie like they absolutely need that? Like, I mean, I guess you do have to have some kind of comic relief, but it wasn't that tense. Everybody knows what's going on.
I don't know about that. I mean, because you would think that, but some of the female actresses, I have heard, and because listening to behind the scenes commentary, they said that Kane Hodder is so intense when he's filming as Jason that they get legitimately in the moment they get scared of him. So I think he did that to kind of pull him back out and say, okay, it's fine now.
Yeah, guys, it's just me, just Kane, good old Caney boy. You know what I demand, and the people deserve a fucking deleted scenes reel of Kane Hodder doing his disco dancing to Dancing Queen by ABBA. We deserve it. We've earned it. He is very intense, and I'm going to say right now, it shows in future Jason movies how intense Kane was.
Yeah, and they said that it would start like a few minutes before they were getting ready to call, action. Like he would suddenly stop joking with them and suddenly, put on the persona and then get into it from there.
Good on him.
During production, many of the cast and crew began calling the movie Jason Takes Vancouver because that's what the city they used to double for New York in most of the scenes for budgetary reasons.
Oh, well, big shocker.
Except for 2 days of filming in Times Square, all of the scenes in the docks, sewer, alleys, and the diner were all filmed in Vancouver.
Okay, so we've talked about how they love filming in Canada because it's so much cheaper, but is this like in the past? Is that a thing now? Because I'm hearing, and I know California is expensive as fuck. Trust me, I live here. But I'm hearing from a lot of fucking people how expensive it is now to live in the bigger cities in Canada. They're barely making it. And not only that, I mean, I'm not trying to get political here, but so they got universal health care out there. And a lot of people who have moved from America to Canada said the one thing they absolutely will never get over and feel like they don't financially ever recover from is there's so much taxes taken out that it makes the cost of living hard to do, and the cost of living has gone up. So I'm wondering how cheap it actually is now to film in Canada. Is it still that way? I feel like the actors might have to pay more, or you might have to pay more for your characters, whatever, your whole crew, to have even temporary housing out there.
I don't know about the housing, but the tax cuts are what keeps them coming back because Canada still offers like extreme tax cuts to get people to.
That makes sense. Okay.
And they do utilize Atlanta more now and Georgia in general for like filming too because of California being so expensive. So they've moved some of it, I mean, at least in America, to Georgia. But if they need anything that's like, got a bigger city that, and all that, they always go to Canada because of tax cuts.
Okay. I am so glad we had that discussion because I really was like, what the fuck? Like, you hear about it all the time and I'm like, but people are saying it's not cheap out there. So, okay.
Laura Park Lincoln originally wanted to sign on to reprise her role as Tina in Part 8, but she wanted a higher salary than she was paid in Part 7. Paramount told her that their budget could not afford to pay her any more than what she bargained for, and because of this, she turned down the part. Thus, Paramount decided to rewrite the entire script for Part 8 to take the movie to a whole new direction, which later completely excluded the character of Tina as they decided they did not want anyone for Part 7 to return.
Being how much I loved Tina, again, still not an amazing, well, she is amazing, but she's a cheat code. But I like Tina, but did we, refresh my memory, did we have people return in the next one? Not really, but it was always like payment issues. They didn't want to pay them more. And I think that kind of worked out.
I think they originally were going to do a direct continuation of Part 7, but then because of her requesting more, they were like, no. And since she was the main lead, they were going to hinge it upon because they wanted somebody to replace Tommy Jarvis. And since she wasn't the one, since she wanted too much, they were like, okay, scrap that. We're going a completely different direction, basically.
Do you think they would have paid Tommy Jarvis more if he was showing up in this?
it depended on if they would have asked if he would have came back. Actually, he was supposed to be in part 9, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
Jason Goes to Hell.
Okay.
And two things. I started in between. I mean, this is behind the scenes stuff for this. This is, you know,
a little BTS.
Taking place a little bit separate from the first part of the recording. I did start watching Roseblood, which is the fan film that's supposed to take place after part 7, you know. They have some interesting concepts that, of course, it being a fan film, terrible acting, you know, people sitting around the room talking to each other. But the one thing that I think that they did that was interesting is they have, and I know now why Lar Park Lincoln and the guy who plays Dr. Cruz are both in the movie, because like he's like in her mind at the beginning of it, she's talking to him, and you know he's trying to convince her it's like her own figment of her imagination. And he's like, why should I not be here, Tina? Tell me, you know, like it's like, and they're right back to the same characters, and she's like, because you died, and he's like, but then why am I still here? So that's the reason he's back, because he's like a manifestation.
Okay.
But then it kicks back, and they got the timeline wrong, so they didn't go along with the official timeline for Friday the 13th. They said it in 1989, the flashback, even though it's supposed to be taking place in 1997, the original movie. So or whatever. But what they did in the Roseblood, they basically set up, they take from Jason X in the sense that there's a Crystal Lake underground facility that they're like doing research and stuff in. And the government is, because they're trying to study Jason. And they have captured Lar Park Lincoln's character Tina, and they're keeping her there to study her powers and see if she can actually manifest Jason, you know, bring him back. Because they want her to use her like in like for a battlefield type situation where they can go to any country in the world, have Tina summon Jason there with her powers, and you know unleash him on the enemies basically.
Why are people so fucked to Tina? Like, oh, she's got these powers, let's fucking manipulate her.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And I think that's a cool concept if they would have went with that as a sequel. And it ties in the research facility that's in Jason X, and one of the researchers that helps develop the some kind of chemical that furthers her psychic ability is none other than Creighton Duke, who is from Jason Goes to Hell. So they tie in like 3 or 4 different movies.
Holy crap. By the way, Lar Park Lincoln, a.k.a. Lori, we know, she does not, I mean, you're not going to look like you did when you were fucking way younger. I get it. But she does not look like
her eyes look like an alien's eyes now.
Okay.
Because of the way that they are.
Yes, but she looks almost porn star-ish.
Yeah.
She had some work done. She doesn't look terrible, but yeah.
She's in it on the bookends of the movie, like the actual actress. Like they get some other actress to play the younger version of Tina.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Also, something that I looked up on the official timeline just to make sure I wasn't crazy, and that the fan film, you know, was getting this wrong, which they were. Rennie from this movie, when she had her experience on the water, she was 13 years old. So 3 years after Tina killed her father, you know, on Crystal Lake, that's when Rennie went swimming. And the reason that given to the Friday the 13th wiki that she saw Jason is that the actual Jason that was tied at the bottom of the, you know, that from Tommy Jarvis, you know, where he attached him to the stone, actually attacked her. But because of some kind of empathetic ability that Rennie has, she saw the inner Jason instead of the monster that he actually was.
Okay, I mean, that would make sense. Yeah, because we were like, what the fuck is up with this kid? I thought she was just so scared she was imagining. Like me, I could be in a lake that is not even a lake. I could be in a river or a lake that's very like, I don't know, maybe 3 feet deep, and I will imagine a shark is about to attack me. So, you know, irrational fears, they fucking fuck with you.
And it makes sense, but like, I mean, I like that description a little bit. It's like she was actually over the exact area by circumstance that Jason was attached. He kind of perked up for a second, tried to drag her down. She freaked out, but instead of seeing like him, she saw like the real him, the little boy that's still trapped in there or whatever.
So she's 13 years old. Correct me if I'm wrong, but she did not look 13. She looked like a kid.
Yeah. It was way. That's the reason I thought that she was going to. It occurred maybe the same summer that Tina, did what she did or something, because they would have been about the same age, like little kids,
Yeah, I mean, if you look, and I know not everyone was. I mean, we had 13, 15-year-olds in the previous camp movie we watched. I forgot which one it was, where she had a dong at the end of the movie. Sleepaway camp. There you go. But they had teenagers in there. This girl, she looked like a little girl. She looked and acted like she was like, I'm gonna take classes, I promise. And it's like, alrighty.
It doesn't really matter because unlike the Chucky movies where they're written by the same guy, Don Mancini, and he tries to keep the lore intact, and that's one of the good things about that series. They had so many, chefs in the kitchen with this series that the lore is fucked beyond belief, so it doesn't really matter in the long run. After this disappointing box office gross of Friday the 13th Part 7, director John Carl Buechler began developing a follow-up which reprised the character of Tina Shepard again facing off against Jason after her release from an insane asylum. Meanwhile, Laura Park Lincoln, who had portrayed Tina, co-wrote with her husband, who was a diehard horror movie fan, an alternative screenplay which had Tina working as a psychologist for troubled girls. Lincoln's co-star in The New Blood, Kevin Spiritus, as we said last time, also wrote a screenplay which recast the events of New Blood so that basically his character was the killer and he took Tina out because he hated her so bad. Paramount, however, opted to assign the project of a follow-up to writer-director Rob Hedden, marking his debut feature. So there was 3 different screenplays proposed by the director and the 2 stars from the previous movie.
The 2 stars, man, what a fucking bicker. I mean, but hers, hold on. She wrote with her husband. Yeah, but at least she didn't, well...
She didn't directly attack Nick.
Yeah,
so,
she didn't.
I mean,
He's attacking her.
It was just that she was removed from him, and now she was trying to help other troubled girls.
You know what I would have done is I would have taken both of their scripts. Like, Nick, I like your idea. Tina, I like your idea. Nick, you're crazy, and you imagined that you killed Tina, so now you are in the asylum, and Tina is now your psychologist. Put this shirt on.
If Kevin came back, I don't think he would appreciate the fact that he would have had to work directly with her again. But.
Hey, you know what? Do you want to get paid or not? Also, both of you, get inside this T-shirt. This is your get along shirt right now. You have to wear it between sets.
The film grossed only $14 million with a budget of $5 million. At the time, it was the lowest grossing film of the series, which is what led to Paramount selling the series off the New Line.
I mean, sucks to suck, Paramount.
Yeah, I think that Paramount would have been, if they would have held off, and this is advice to Disney on all of your big properties, Star Wars, Marvel and all that.
Yeah.
If you're doing really bad because your scripts are sucking, have a cooling period, put the property on ice, let the fans start craving it again, and bring it back a few years later, and you'll be fine. Don't sell it off,
Yeah.
After Rob Hedden's work on Friday the 13th, the series impressed executive producer Frank Mancuso Jr. Mancuso offered Hedden the director's chair for this film. He accepted on one condition, that Jason could be taken out of Crystal Lake. According to Hedden, it was Mancuso's idea to send Jason to New York. Unfortunately, Hedden's script was drastically rewritten to take place mostly en route to New York due to the budget, as we said. The final film version barely resembles Hedden's original script at all.
I can imagine it's expensive to film in New York, especially in a busy area, especially in the fucking central city. Spectators, you got to have fucking hella police. They want to get paid. They're due. You got to set up all kinds. You got to redirect traffic. I get it. I don't understand how anybody could ever want to film in San Francisco, not just because of how it is now, but it is a fucking nightmare just for regular driving out there, let alone, hey, let's film chaos in a city, you know?
I think they shot too large with their. I mean, the movie's fine.
Yeah.
You know, like we said, it's a fun watch. I think they shot too far as their like goal. If you just want to get Jason out of Crystal Lake and not just have it at the camp, what about the community that we barely see in part 3? You know, when Shelley's like running over the biker gangs like motorcycles and all that.
Yeah.
Why not get him out in the town and start attacking the townsfolk for whatever reason and bringing the threat to them in that way? I mean, they do that technically in part 9 anyways.
Yeah.
They could have done that in part 8 and it might have done better because they wouldn't have had all the plot holes. They wouldn't have been having to worry about the budget, as badly. I mean, they could have, I think it would have been better that way myself, but.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Well, because here's the thing is, would we have gotten the hilarious scenes of him fucking kicking a boombox in the city, fucking with the kids?
No, we wouldn't have. I mean, I appreciate those things. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, but what if he'd went into town and there'd been the bikers there again or a version of them and they'd been playing with a boombox and he did that? I mean, we still could have got the scene technically.
Yeah. Well, what you're saying makes more sense because I don't know if I've heard my husband say this because I don't know how this got into my head, but he's like, he's in a big ass fucking city. You're telling me like all these people, but then again, you got Scream in fucking New York, And nobody can seem to fucking find this one. I know they played it out really good, but Jason Voorhees was not played out. People knew about a Jason Voorhees, and you're telling me on a regular, any given day in New York, he's literally walking down the street and nobody fucking notices?
I think they were playing into the joke about New York and that the people there, if it's not affecting them, they look the other way because they know that, I don't know if that's an accurate depiction of New York.
I couldn't tell you honestly,
but that's the stereotype about them. It's like you can be getting mugged or robbed, and they'll be like, "Nope, not my problem." That's not affecting me. So
yeah.
At around 1 hour and 10 minutes, Vincent Craig Dupree actually cut his hand in the phone booth when Jason shatters the glass around him.
That was a good ass scene.
Yeah, that's where Julius is trying to call the police, and then all of a sudden, Kane Hodder breaks in there. So he actually cut his hand on that glass.
So So I take it they didn't use sugar glass.
Even if they did, apparently it was too sharp.
Okay.
Because sugar glass is still sharp.
That is true. Yeah.
According to the DVD commentary from Crystal Lake Memories, The Complete History of Friday the 13th, Lee Coleman was the original actor playing Sean Robertson. A couple of weeks later, after filming had started, he was let go because, according to producers, he came off as gay in the dailies, and they had no romantic chemistry with the female lead, Rennie. So Scott Reeves was hired to replace him and reshoot all of the scenes that Lee had played.
I mean, look at nothing against anyone that's gay. But you have to be able to act. That is, if you are an actor, you have to be able to pretend. Those guys that are gay for pay, they're not gay in real life, but they're taking it up the ass and they make so much money because fucking gay men love seeing a straight guy getting it. Okay, if they can do it, you can do it.
Well, and also you get that, and I apologize for not remembering the actor's name like off the top of my head, but you get that same thing from Friday, part 2, where the actor is clearly gay, has no chemistry with a female lead, and it comes off as, everybody around you knows it's like this, the guy's gay. Like,
Wait, are you talking about Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nightmare, not Friday.
Yeah.
But Nightmare on Elm Street, part 2, where it's like, and what is that? And I can't remember the guy's name. I wish I could, but like, no offense to him, but like he could not pull off like that straight, manly lead or whatever.
Yeah.
It just didn't work, and that's on the casting people because they saw what he was, portraying, and they didn't, give him any direction otherwise. They didn't tell him, hey, this is coming off weird, and not weird in a bad way, but just not weird in a way that we versus what we would like for the character.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, in perspective now, looking back on it, we joke, haha, it was gay. And you know what it was? Here's the thing, is it kind of sucks. It's more accepting nowadays. So now we're like, okay, cool. Well, gay people got their movie and we appreciate that they got their movie. It's not terrible. It's just that they were trying to make it to where they weren't able to say it, you know, like, oh, he's a gay character or he has gay tendencies. Like I said, today that would be acceptable. Back then it wouldn't. But then we just got this awkward gay horror film, you know, and it's just like.
I tend to believe that they meant for it to come out that way. And
I
Mark
agree,
Patton's
yeah.
the actor. Mark Patton's the actor I was thinking of. I just looked his
Okay.
name up, playing Jesse. So, but I feel like the writer knew what the subtext of the story was.
Yes.
And even if the director says he didn't know, he had to.
He had to know.
He was filming.
Yeah, especially back in those days, somebody would have straight up been like, "This is hella gay," you know, in a derogatory way. But no, he continued with it, which good for them. Because like I said, the fucking community loves that movie. So let them.
And I mean, it's not a bad film overall.
Mm-mm.
It's just, it's a little bit striking when it doesn't really fit with any of the rest of the movies.
Exactly.
But,
Well, if anything, we found, obviously, not Jason.
Freddy.
Why do we keep getting our slashers? Freddy doesn't discriminate.
No, Freddy is. Freddy becomes sexy women so he can confuse hetero guys. So there you go. I mean,
Freddy is a what do you call those ones? He's an ally. Freddy's an ally.
Sure, if that's what you want to call him. The deckhand who's warning everybody that they're doomed is obviously based on Crazy Ralph.
Oh yeah, I thought it was him.
It's a straight up like homage to the character.
Oh yeah.
They fully intended for Rennie, their virtuous good girl, to have a nude scene, thus rebuking slasher norms in which only the slutty girls show skin. They simply forgot to cast an actress who would agree to do it. The director repeatedly worked on wearing Jensen Daggett down, pointing to examples of notable actresses who had done nudity without causing damage to their careers. First, he asked her to go nude. She declined. Then maybe just a topless again. She declined. Finally, he requested that she at least take her blouse off, and still she declined. So, Good on her.
Good on her. And this also goes to show you, yes, he did push a little much to get her naked. It's the movies, okay? You're going to get asked to do things like this, and you're in your rights to decline. She held her ground, but they also didn't fire her. And they could have.
Yeah, if they wanted to really, really push that point, they could have went a
They
different
could have,
way.
and they didn't. So you can't get mad at the director for asking. Good on the actress for holding her ground, and good on everyone involved that, hey, it still happened regardless of her not showing her titties. I'm from California, so we don't have a lot of modesty out here. But me personally, at a younger age, and they're probably in their 20s, fucking look at it, flaunt it while you can. You're not gonna look like that forever.
Well, I mean, we went through that with I think it was part 2. There was a skinny dipping scene in that movie, and the blonde who did that said that she was hesitant, but like looking back on it, that was the prime of her life,
Yes.
and she's glad that it was captured on film, so that she can remember what it was like being, that well, endowed or whatever you want to say. So
Yeah, I mean, come on now, it's the prime of your life. I wonder if Jensen ever did anything, not Ackles, God. Let me see if she did any kind of nude stuff. Has Jensen Daggett ever been nude? Nope. She has never. So in general, not even in the future.
well, good on her.
Yeah.
In a 2004 interview with director Rob Hedden, his original idea for the movie was for it to be a crossover with Freddy Krueger from the popular Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But much like in '87, Paramount couldn't get the rights to use Freddy or come up with an agreement to make both studios happy, and Freddy vs. Jason would not be made for another 14 years as a result. So 2 movies in a row back in the 80s, we could have had the 2 big slashers fighting, and they just couldn't come together on that.
Yeah.
At around 1 hour and 11 minutes, Julius throws punches at Jason for exactly 1 minute and 16 seconds on the roof of the building. Many fans have pointed out that he could have just tried to shove Jason off the roof since the edge was only a few feet away, but, he didn't, so there you go.
Yeah.
Colleen Van Dusen was named after Van Dusen Lodge, which was the name of the cabin in Camp Nobi Bosco, which is the one Alice and Pamela Voorhees first met each other in the original 1980 movie. So,
okay. So it was. I didn't. We might have discussed it, but that wasn't Crystal Lake. Can't.
It's
just the name of the cabin, not the name of the camp.
It was the name of the cabin in the camp or whatever.
Never mind.
The studio was looking for a Canadian actor to play Jason for the role. Ken Kersinger was considered to play Jason back then, but Kane Hodder was determined to convince Paramount to hire him again. But to his surprise, they felt he wouldn't be interested to reprise the role. Ken would instead play Kane's stunt double in the movie and eventually replace Kane in Freddy vs. Jason. Canadian makeup artist Bill Terazakis also worked on both movies as well. So Ken and Kane had worked together several times prior to him being replaced.
Which is insane. Okay, maybe it's not insane. This is coming from somebody who's fucking a whole ass fucking foot and more shorter than these guys. But like Kane Hodder is 6'2" and Ken is 6'5". It's a significant difference. And I know for a fact that Kane is stockier than Ken. God
he
damn it,
is, yes. You can tell the difference between the two of them.
Yeah, so that's kind of weird that Ken would play a stunt double, but I guess it's going to be quick scenes, quick shots, so maybe they hope you didn't notice.
Yeah, and I mean, because Kane is already a stuntman, it's like really I wonder what they had Ken. It had to have been like the most extreme stuff, like fire scenes or something.
Something that Kane was like, nope, not today.
Yeah. Maybe that scene where he has to jump on the hood of the car. Maybe that's what Ken was one of the scenes that Ken did.
Yeah, because Kane would have fucking wrecked the car in half. I don't know.
In fact, I actually know it was that scene because in the behind the scenes, Kane Hodder was talking about it, and he's actually disappointed with that one scene in the movie. He said that if you notice in the movie, Jason comes out of some kind of like little, like security guard building or something, like just this little shack, like, structure to walk into the street in front of the car, before he lands on the hood. Well, they wouldn't let Hodder do any of that stuff. And he said that he talked to Ken about, here's what I would prefer you do if you're going to imitate my character, so it'd be the same.
Yeah.
And he said he's disappointed with how it ended up being filmed on screen, because if you look, and they showed the scene after, and it's true, when he comes out of the building, he's swinging his arms, and it is not how Kane walks at all. Like,
fucking
it's completely different.
Fucking Ken. Which is a big thing with Ken that I noticed immediately after in Freddy vs. Jason. He does not walk like Kane Hodder.
No, but he has one thing that fits that movie well, we'll get to it. I'll cover it later, but it actually fits the movie a little bit better the way they intended than what Kane would have probably done. So, Final Girl, Death Holler Awards. Final Girl, Rennie. She's a girl.
Yeah,
she survives. She is not at the top of any of these lists. Tina is better.
Yeah.
That's,
and that's not saying a lot. Again, like I said, I like Tina, but it's not saying a lot. Tina's a cheat code.
Yeah. Jason, I really like the portrayal in this movie. Like, the only part that I don't like in this movie, myself, is that there's a couple scenes where they zoom in on his hands, and like in the previous movie, they did a pretty good job of like covering his hands up with those black gloves and then like having like the little bit of bone, like, showing on the backside of it.
Yeah.
In this movie, there's a couple scenes where you can see his thumb, and it's like a pink, healthy looking thumb. And it's so jarring when you see it. It's just like, okay,
we don't appreciate it. Yeah.
But otherwise, he's constantly like dripping wet, in this movie. Like, it's zombie drowned Jason. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Best kill, Julius getting his head punched off. Come on. You don't get that in any other fucking movie.
Yeah, and that one is going to be the best one for me because none of the other ones were great.
They were just okay. I mean, at least they had some gore associated with this movie. It was better than the last.
Yeah, that neck cut though from the
as soon as it started to bleed whatsoever, they cut away from it.
Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck is that? I did like, okay, so there was other things I liked. I liked the girl getting slashed with the mirror. It was realistic. Kane took time to search for the perfect piece of mirror to fucking cut her, while she's slithering and screaming on the ground, which is hilarious. So I did like that scene. The kill still wasn't as good as fucking him getting his head knocked off. And then in the sewer, when he just attacks the sewer worker guy, it's like, you got to get the fuck out of here. We're going to release something. I don't know. And all of a sudden, Jason shows up and just fucking murders him. I thought it looked real. I thought it looked, kind of cool. But yeah, those are my two, close runner-ups. But the best kill was definitely the head being punched off.
Well, the one scene that I liked that they did a good job of skirting around the MPAA, but still having the effectiveness of the scene is that very first kill of the female on the yacht. Whenever he takes that like harpoon spear and he just basically jabs it into her, because the way that it cuts back and forth between him and her, you see it all the way down into the camera from his angle. Then you see her screaming, and then it cuts away. So you get the gist of what's going on without having to actually see it. So it kind of plays back to like Texas Chainsaw, where your mind fills in enough of the gap to where that one comes out pretty well in the wash. Best scream, I don't really know. None of them stood out to me. Maybe Tamara, whenever she's there whimpering as he's selecting the perfect piece of glass, or maybe JJ, because, when she looks up, she's sitting there jamming to her, catchy little song, and all of a sudden she looks up and Jason's like standing at the top of the stairs right above her,
Yeah. Tomorrow, she's slithering and screaming, and I did mention it as one of my favorite scenes. However, I would say the best scream for me was the girl at the beginning on the boat when she's in the little, I forget what it's called, the little area underneath the boat, and she knows she's going to get speared, and she's just begging him not to do it. I like that because she's trying to reason. She doesn't know it, but she's trying to reason with somebody that's undead.
That's true. Yeah. That wasn't bad. It's just that we have, in the history of this show that we've been doing, we have Samara Weaving and, Ready or Not. And we have, why am I blanking her name from X or whatever? Jenna Ortega. Mm-hmm. We have the two of them, and their screams are so they're so good and so different that none of these are going to really match up in the long run anyways.
But still, we're comparing to this movie. We're not comparing to them, although there is going to be a competition at the end between them, and these girls just don't qualify. Yeah.
And then I'd have to go back, but there's another movie we covered, and I think it was in this series, this or Nightmare, where one of the girls specifically had 5 or 6 different screams that she came up with for the movie. So, that automatically bumps her up to at least 3rd place for trying to come up with different types of screams throughout the movie. Best side characters, Toby the Good Boy.
Yes, certified good boy. I'm going to be real honest with you. Toby didn't do shit in this movie. Not a goddamn thing.
He got out of the way of Jason. That's the smartest thing you could do.
He was smart. Well, we will give Toby that. But, did he even square up once? At the end, did he square up to those guys that drugged Rennie and tried to rape her?
No, he didn't. No. He didn't show up for any of that stuff where she was, in trouble in New York.
Yeah. He still was smart. These characters could have made smarter decisions. We could learn a lot from Toby. Is what I'm getting at.
How annoying is the Doom Prophet? The deckhand is pretty good. It's Crazy Ralph Jr. He fits the part perfectly.
Oh, my God. Again, I thought that was him. But that's what they intended, so okay.
Dumbest moment is Julius not trying to push Jason off the building. He was wore out. He shouldn't have punched. But like you said, he hadn't got to the point in his training where he learned, how to, kind of... let it out a little bit, run the line a little bit on the other person so that he could conserve energy.
Yeah, so, and that was my guess.
Too bad.
That was my stupid way of explaining the stupidity, because I could only guess. But I feel like that's some of the first things you learn in boxing is don't tire yourself out. Be like Toby and make smart decisions.
Yeah, it's be like him and get the fuck out of there.
100.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this movie before we move on to Jason Goes to Hell?
Just one thing. Do we think this movie was necessary in this series? There's horrible Friday the 13th movies that were get gone,
Was it necessary? No. I mean, and when I say that, I almost feel like Patches O'Houlihan from Dodgeball. Is it necessary that we had this movie? No, but I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Paramount trying to get more money.
Yeah.
And they did, although not as much as they wanted. And that's all you could say about it. I mean, it was, I think that their back burner scripts they had were better options. And I think Paramount would have been better off trying to secure some more funding to try to get that to happen versus maybe going this route. But we got what we got. So
yeah,
can't really do anything about that.
Is this isn't the end of Kane Hodder, is it?
This is not the end of Kane Hodder.
Okay.
This is the end of Paramount owning the series.
Woo, okay.
Yeah, this is the pass off point between them and New Line. They were like, we can't make any more money out of this, or it's not the cash cow we thought it was. Here you go. You know, have fun with it.
Yeah.
It's an empty dance and so incomplete. The hollow voices whisper